When it comes to defending America, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space. So important. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal. It is going to be something so important. General Dunford, if you would carry that assignment out, I would be very greatly honored.
Look at Mike Pence. Mike Pence has this look on his face like, I'm going to be the president. It's like, this motherfucker's gone completely crazy, and I'm going to be the president next.
That's his nod of approval.
Look at his face. He's got the face of a guy who knows he's going to be the president. Like if you were about to be awarded something, like if there was something you were about to get, and you're like, wow, I worked my whole life for this, and here it is. I'm going to get that thing right now. I'm going to be the fucking president. He must be like, this guy is never going to last 8 years. And for sure he's going to win again. I'm going to be the president.
So you think for sure he wins again because whoever the Democrats decide to put in is going to be an equal turd sandwich again?
You're a super smart dude, but you're also a brute. You're a big, giant, savage motherfucker, right? Yeah. So how many people have underestimated you because you're a big, giant, savage motherfucker?
Plenty.
And talked stupid to you and acted like you were a moron?
I'd say equal street fights to fights in the UFC.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, right? And just people in general. Like, they'll get snotty. I don't take stevia. I drink
I'm
black.
good. I'm going
like
black.
My men. But I think there's a certain part of us that might be doing that with him. I don't think he is. I think he's really good at winning. This is not an endorsement of him.
No caveats necessary.
Yeah, I'm horrified by this immigration policy of separating children from their parents. I think that's subhuman.
His wife came out and said that was bullshit, right?
Yeah, his wife's an immigrant, bro. His wife barely speaks English. It's chaos, right? It's crazy. I hate all that stuff. These are just families. They're just people who love each other. You got to keep them together. If they break the law, you keep them together. Get them out of here if you want. I mean, if you want to send them back to wherever they came from, if you're hell-bent on that, but taking them from their kids is subhuman. I mean, it's beyond. It's not us. It's not what we're doing in 2018. All that aside, he's probably going to fucking win again, man. I think he's probably going to win again. I think he gets in these confrontations with people, and they think he's a dolt. And I don't think he's a dolt. I think there's no way he could be as successful as he's been. I know he's had ups and downs and shit like that, but like, what he just the way he was able to dismantle all those guys in those Republican debates,
He tore them the fuck apart. Tore them apart.
They had no business. They had no business doing that with him. They just were too emotionally tied up in his responses. There was so much negativity and energy. It was like, there's all this anxiety. Like a fight where a guy's in full panic. You know, you've seen like street fights, especially, guys just go into full panic.
Or even just talking shit in the schoolyard. You know, like one guy's getting bullied. Bully's got the crowd watching him, and the other guy's like, well, but you're fuck you, man.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's like, oh, that ain't gonna work. You know, that's what the rest of them look like. Ted Cruz, that's what they all looked like.
He's just been doing this his whole life. He's been talking shit his whole life. You know? And he's got a lot of fucking supporters. And if the economy keeps doing good, man, it's going to be a hard sell to put some guy in there like Bernie Sanders who, you know, all the right-wing people think just wants to give away all your money. Give away all your money to welfare brats.
Even the left was protecting against that.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's still money on the left.
I should point out, I know jack shit about politics. This is very important to point out. Anybody that ever says you shouldn't be talking about politics, that's crazy. Because anybody should be able to talk about whatever they want. But what I shouldn't do is give anybody the impression that I know what I'm talking about, because I definitely don't. Like, if you had to get me to explain to you how Congress and the Senate works and how long the terms are and what's the what they have to do, that'd be a sloppy ass fucking conversation, right? I'm no political expert, like Mike Pence is no MMA expert. You know what I mean? Like, he probably could tell you who Conor McGregor is. Like, that's probably like we have equal knowledge in government.
Yeah.
But still, he might win. Just in terms of like games.
He definitely could. Yeah.
It's a game.
He definitely could.
Look, what is it? It's a fucking game. It's a game. It's a very high stakes, gigantic game where you're trying to win a popularity contest. He won.
What do you think of The Rock potentially becoming president one day? That shit blew up, and I was like, wait a minute now. If you look at the current state, and it is a popularity contest, and we want somebody who can literally rock the mic, has the gift of gab.
Yeah.
But then you also have somebody who's doing humanitarian shit, is as famous as fucking anyone has ever been, highest paid dude in Hollywood.
He's so nice too.
Yeah,
Such a nice
you look
guy.
at that guy and you don't question his character.
No, he's a sweetheart. Yeah, he's a sweetheart. You meet him in real life, he's like that too. Oh, he's a big motherfucker, big giant motherfucker.
I think he could do it.
He could win. He could win, especially if he has Oprah as his VP. And I'm not even fucking around. Not saying it's a good idea, folks. Not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you don't think that The Rock and Oprah could win? But who would be? Women would get super pissed off if The Rock was the president and Oprah was VP. Oprah would have to say, "Look, I'm busy."
She's potentially next in line. That's not a bad thing. She's Mike Pence, nodding in approval.
But a lot of people would want her to be president. Oprah to be the first female president to counter, like the first celebrity president being Trump. Oprah counters that with the first female celebrity president. Bah! See, that's a big win.
Would The Rock be VP in that situation?
It's tough to get The Rock to take a fucking back seat.
Yeah,
son.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
The Rock he's The Rock. It's tough to get him to take a back seat. It would be fascinating to see what happens next. That's what's going to be, how we're going to try to play this out. How people are going to play this out, the popularity contest aspect of it. Because it's just, okay, if it really devolves into that. It's like, and here's the other thing. How much of his regulations are helping?
And what do we do now that has really fucked up, maybe permanent consequences to the earth?
That's true too, right? But what stuff have they implemented other than, I know they did offshore drilling, right? That concerned a lot of people. And it was explained better to me about the monuments and the private land. I've read a bunch of different, and public land rather, I've read a bunch of different takes on that. And essentially what they did is bring it back to where it was before the Obama administration changed it. So it was listed a certain way, and then when the Obama administration changed it, they felt that was an overstep. I don't know why. And it doesn't seem to be, they haven't started any like mineral drills or oil drills or anything in these areas. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're really just trying to deregulate things more. They feel like the government overstepped their boundaries, or if they really have nefarious ideas and they're trying to like figure out a way to get some oil out of a salmon river.
Time will tell.
Yeah, man. There was that one place, we've discussed it before, up in Alaska where a lot of people were concerned that there was going to be some drilling that takes place near where salmon live. Like close enough that if it fucked up, it could destroy this river.
When it fucks up.
That's probably the best way to say it, right? Because if we don't do anything about it, like say if you put a pipeline in the earth and you pump oil through it, and we don't do anything, we just leave it there, and we don't visit it for 5,000 years. What's that going to be like? So what does that mean? It means you got to keep fixing it. Okay, so you put a giant tube through the earth, and you're pumping toxic ooze out of this tube, and sometimes it gets into rivers and it fucking kills everything. and you want to run this tube under the river. Okay. And then what are you going to do? Like how many every year, every 5 years? How often are you checking? And when do you replace shit? How long do those tubes last?
I don't know. They got to check it out. I almost got into that.
What happens if there's an earthquake and those tubes break?
Fuck City.
What? How does that work? I don't know jack shit about how they pump the oil out. Do you? What were you going to say?
Nothing, not those tubes.
Well, it's I mean, it's a weird thing if we know for sure they're going to one day break. Like we're making a toxic pipeline. We know for sure it's going to the Earth's going to just absorb it, right?
Everything fucking
Eventually.
erodes. Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Have you seen them show like a 5-year depiction of what would happen to our bridges if we stopped painting on them?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it looks like it happens overnight.
Wasn't there a show about this called Life After Humans or something like that?
Yeah. Was that on like Nat Geo or Discovery, something like that?
Something like that. Yeah. There's a bunch of spots, particularly, look at this. Southern California deadliest quake may have been caused by oil drilling. Oh, Jesus Christ.
1933.
Doesn't
What?
Oklahoma now have a ton of earthquakes from fracking?
Yeah. But how could they know this? Because earthquakes happen out here. I wonder how they know this. The study, written by 2 leading U.S. Geological Survey scientists in Pasadena, shout out to Pasadena, and be published in the Bulletin of Seismic Society of America on Tuesday, also suggests that 3 other earthquakes, including magnitude 5.0 earthquakes in 1920 in Inglewood and 1929 in Whittier, may have also been linked to oil drilling. Whoa. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe we live in California, right? Maybe both. Maybe it gave it a little bump, but it was happening anyway. Fuck knows. But it is, it's weird. That's a weird one. The weirdest one for sure is nuclear power plants. That's the weirdest one because they can't shut them off.
When you had Shane Smith on, he was talking about that kid that made a nuclear reactor in his garage.
Yeah.
At like 17 years old.
Yeah.
I think he's like 22 now or 23. Works for the government.
What did they do? They tracked him by the materials that he was purchasing?
Well, he shut down a fucking city block when he turned. But he was doing like fusion. He could do, what was that? He could refine uranium.
Oh, Jesus.
Like he knew how to fucking mine it, get all the materials.
And he's 17?
That was at 17. He's 22 now or 23.
That's insane.
But he can take the used reactors and basically like a handheld battery like you'd have on an RC car that can power an entire city for 10,000 years, each one of those.
What?
That's what Smith was saying.
What?
That's not
I
for
know,
me.
I know.
I'm saying, though, that's what Shane Smith was saying. This guy has that technology. And, of course, you know, they're to get a little Eddie Bravo-ish, you know, there's big companies that don't want to see that happen, but he's supported by Elon Musk and other big-time dudes that want to see it happen.
Well, here would be the thing. I don't know if once those nuclear reactors get up and running, like the old-style ones, like Fukushima, I don't know if they have like a way to shut those down. You know, I think they need, ironically enough, I think they need power to shut them down. Wasn't that like a big part of the problem with Fukushima? Where they couldn't cool it? They couldn't keep it cool? Mm-hmm. Dude, they can't shut them off. Like that is the crazy, they've only had them for, if you stop and think about the amount of time humans have been alive, it's only been like 50 years, 60 years since like nuclear power's everywhere. Like what has been the year? The bomb was dropped in, what was that, 45? Is that 1945?
I don't know. Before my time. Right around there.
When do you think
Jamie.
the bomb was dropped? Was it 45?
Yeah,
Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
I think that's right. But sorry, I was looking up that they shut down power plants in Florida when the hurricane went through last year.
Nuclear power plants? Yeah, I think new ones they can. I don't think they could shut down the Fukushima one. Or I think that was just damaged by the water so badly that whatever their shutdown thing didn't work. But there's no way to shut it down now. Now it's just a fucking total meltdown disaster. I mean, they've tried to come up with all sorts of ways to store this shit. I think one of them was dig a giant hole, pour all the waste in there, and keep it frozen.
That doesn't sound good. That
Dude,
sounds like a really bad idea.
They were going to put it in like this giant vat, and they were going to have this vat like super cooled to some like ridiculous low degree and do something. Correct me if I'm wrong. This sounds like I'm making this up.
I bet Paul Stamets could come up with a way to fix that.
How would you fix that? Mushrooms eat all the nuclear waste?
Dude, he did that. He had the TED Talk, 6 Ways Mushrooms Will Save the World.
And was that one of his...
One of them was oyster mushrooms eating away oil spills. So
Whoa.
he fucking has like 3 giant vats of toxic waste. I wouldn't say toxic, like garbage. And they're all coated in oil. And he does different things to 2 of them. And then on the 3rd one, he puts oyster mushroom spores in there. And they cover them. And the other 2 just stink to fucking hell. Like they get worse over time.
Wow.
The oyster mushrooms grow and they grow black as the oil starts to be absorbed by them. Then they break down every single carbon in the oil until eventually the oyster mushroom becomes white again and it's fucking edible.
What?
Completely breaks it down. And these are giant oyster mushrooms. Like just fucking massive.
Dude, you're going to get BP cocky. They're gonna get cocky. Like, look, we spell it. We got some fucking mushrooms. We're good, dude. We're good, dude.
Give us 3 months.
Damn, could you imagine a giant oil spill out in the ocean, and then these scientists drop like billions of spores? What is this, Jamie?
I don't know
Is this
that
the article?
that might not work in the ocean.
But could
on
you
land.
imagine if they did do it and it did work, and you see these fucking building-sized mushrooms just sucking oil out of the ocean?
That'd be awesome.
It would be crazy. And then they turn white and they become edible.
Then they just got to figure out how to do that with psilocybin and we're golden.
Wow. Yeah. That would be an easy fix, to find some way to blend the 2 of them together. Don't you think?
Little crossbreed.
Could they do that? I know they do that with plants, right?
They got to be able to do that.
How do they do that with plants? Because someone told me that blew me away, that there was they were making pistachio trees, and they were binding them somehow or another to avocado trees, and they were making them like grow together to make like a sturdier branch structure. And I went, what? You can do that? You can mix trees?
I know here they have mixed trees, but they're from the same like phylum. I don't know if that's right. They're close enough genetically related, but you'd have like one base of the tree that has the roots, and then different branches on that tree grow different fruit. Wow. And you can have 4 different fruit styles on one tree, like peaches, plums, apricots, all from one tree.
Wow, dude. I had no idea.
You can buy that shit at Costco.
I believe you. I had no idea, though. I would have assumed that like a tomato has to be in a tomato tree. You know, you can't splice a tomato tree to an apple tree.
Tomato might not work, but as far as fruit trees,
so
it would be cool though to do that. Maybe you could do that with tomatoes. Maybe you could have beefsteak on one side and cherry on the other.
Yeah, right.
It's possible.
Right,
You can
like
do it
have
with
it all
fruit.
mixed up together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just what a strange life form plants are. You know, they're bizarre compared to us. This thing that lives alongside of us, cleans our air for us, cleans our air. Like New York without Central Park would be so much grosser, probably, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Have to be. Like all the carbon in the air, carbon dioxide, all the people breathing. Everyone around you, there's so many people. Everyone just breathing, you know? You're in like a soup of people breathing on the subway and in buildings, and, you know, people are so jammed next to each other when they're walking by. They're just breathing each other's air. That is such a weird way that people have decided to live.
Yeah, it is weird. We were just out there for product development with Onnit. Get to go out to different conferences and shit. So we went out to Secaucus, New Jersey. And they're like a giant supplement conference where they have it's basically like people that do the science. They figure out something really cool, but they're not big enough name to take it to the masses. So we come in along with other companies. We look for different things that are backed by science, piece it all together, and create something new. So we're doing that by day, and then we'd head over to New York by night. And it was cool, but it was like, it's a fucking madhouse. It's absolutely insane to think that people live on that tiny little island.
They love it.
Yeah, it definitely buzzes. It's got its own fucking energy, for sure.
For sure. And it's a little hostile. There's a hostility to that. The comedy there is it sort of exemplifies that. New York comedy has always been some of the best comedy in the country, like always. It's always been some of the best comics come out of New York. And a lot of them are like super hyper aggressive. Like a lot of them, like real insult comedians, like that kind of, that style of shitting on each other. It's like they're aggressively like that. But it's like Patrice O'Neal was probably like the best at it.
He was so fucking good.
He was so fucking
was so
good.
good.
But he exemplifies that New York style of, what the fuck are you wearing, man? What the fuck is that shirt? And then it would just be attack. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And but it was fun. It was all like in good fun and playful. But that New York style is, it's like a harder style, like a more aggressive style.
Yeah, even families talk to each other differently there.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot more shit talking.
Well, I've tried to figure this out myself because my grandparents were immigrants. But I figured the way I was thinking it is like, if you really thought about the kind of people that were taking a chance to come across the ocean and get here in like 1920, like these were wild, desperate people. Like this was a different kind of human. They're a wilder type of human being. And then to go from that wild type of human being to like a regular person in 2018, it's only been a couple of generations. Those places is where the people stayed. So the people landed there first. And then all the Polish and the Jewish and the Italian and the Puerto Ricans and all these different fucking ethnic groups just piled in together, just buzzing. And a lot of people went, let's go west. Let's fucking go west. And they landed over here. And this is why California is like quite a bit more mellow, quite a bit more laid back. And even the comedians are more friendly. There's not like, but there is a great roast battle scene up here too. They do those roast battle shows. Those things are pretty goddamn good.
I love the roasts.
They get nasty with each other. Whew.
You guys sit in the back of the Comedy Store and talk shit, right?
Yeah, we talk shit to each other, but it's fun. It's practice. It's
That would
like
be
we're
awesome.
making other comedians laugh.
That'd be awesome, though, to be a fly on the wall watching a bunch of comedians just talk shit to each other, not even worried about other people, not trying to make anybody laugh but themselves.
We all talk shit unless Joey's around. Then when Joey's around, just try to get him riled up. when Joey's around, my main goal is try to get him angry about something and just hear him go off. And that's when the magic happens. It's got to be something. You got to bring up some fucking band he doesn't like or some food that's bullshit. And next thing you know, he's throwing his arms back and he's fucking
Somebody orders the ranch sauce with their salad. Or fucking chicken wings.
With chicken wings, yeah. Just that one statement. It's blue cheese with wings or go fuck your mother. It's just, and it's just the way he says it too. So when we're in the back and Joey's back there, we just let Joey rant. We just try to get him riled up. I mean, we'll have conversations with him if he just wants to have a conversation. But half the time, it's like a game of, you're hanging around with the funniest guy ever. If you can get that guy to laugh and get that guy to make everybody laugh.
Just fucking poke and prod.
Yeah, just have fun with them. But he would always do that. Like, no one could figure that out. We'd do these gigs on the road. And right before Joey would go on stage, he'd get mad at us. He'd get mad at you for whatever reason. He goes, you guys with this fucking laptop and this bullshit in the fucking green. It's the fucking green room. Let the green room be the green room. So, what are you going to do? You going to show him your dick? You going to do it? And he would like go into this thing like, how deep you going to get into this fucking internet life? Let these fucking people behind the scenes would just go off. And they were like, why is Joey so mad? I'm like, he's getting fired up to go on stage. That's what he does. Comes back, he's not mad at you. He just decides, like, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah,
this is what it's
poor
going to be.
bastard's like, I'm just trying to do some emails.
I'm just streaming on YouTube.
What's his deal?
What the fuck is this streaming? What the fuck is it? What the fuck are these kids doing with their fucking streaming? And the next thing you know, boom, bang, everybody's on the floor, dying laughing. He would get fired up, and then he'd go on stage already at 10, It's a really smart thing.
Yeah.
Just get mad, just get annoyed right before you go on stage. Just get annoyed at anything. What kind of fucking mustard is this? What kind, Joe Rogan, what kind of fucking mustard is this? Back in Jersey, they had the mustards with the seeds. That fucking brown, dirty mustard that looked like it came out of someone's asshole. And he would just, whatever it was, he would just start ranting about it and get angry, and then he would go on stage like at 10. So it could be anything, man. It could be a fucking TV show that's on he doesn't like. It could be the pair of sneakers you're wearing. It could be, I don't like the way you're doing your notes. He'll just say, he yelled at me once for having a notebook. I came to the improv and I had a fucking notebook. And he goes, what are you doing with the fucking notebook? And I go, it's not, that's why I keep my notes. And he's like, what, do you want everybody to know you're writing? Carry this fucking notebook around?
Yeah, like you're doing it to show the world that you take your job serious.
Some people do. But I mean, that's better than not doing it. You know, even if you're like, even if you're writing to fake that you're writing all the time, just that's definitely better than not writing. Carry that notebook, man. Encourage notebooks. I'm pro notebook.
You guys got the notepad right here.
Dude, you got to write shit down.
You do.
I don't look at 90% of it. There's a lot of stuff in here that I have no idea what the fuck I wrote. But occasionally, I feel like one day I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna wise up, and I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna go over these notes, and something's gonna make some sense. But nope, all looks like nonsense. Chicken scratch and nonsense. Page after page of it, Kyle Kingsbury. Do you take notes? Like life notes?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I have 2 journals that I use for psychedelic ceremonies, shit like that. And then my desk it's kind of a fucking joke. I mean, it's just covered in Post-its. And I'll just jot shit down on who I'm going to have on the podcast or the supplement that I want to try, what dose that I tried it at, that kind of shit, since I'm kind of the office guinea pig. Just any bullshit. But they're fucking everywhere.
Have you ever had an adverse reaction as an office guinea pig trying shit out?
Many, many times. I was at a meeting with Aubrey, and I forget the guys that were there, but there was some bigwig guys. And, I show up, and he's like, hey, you doing all right? And I was like, no, I'm not doing good. And I had taken this form of berberine that lowers blood sugar. It kind of works like metformin. Dr. Peter T has talked about that before on your show. And it's supposed to help with ketone production and just inflammation, all that good shit. But I took way too much. I kind of eyeballed it. I got cocky. Yeah.
You eyeballed
I got cocky. Yeah, I probably had 3 times the dose. Oh. And it just fucking sunk me. And I'm like, I'm already in ketosis. I should be fine. And I went pale as a ghost. And he's like, what? Aubrey's got a couch in his office. He said, why don't you just lay on the couch for a minute? So I laid down there, fucking full body sweat. It got worse.
Whoa.
And I just listened, and I was like, yeah, kind of close to fucking throwing up, but, and that's like one of probably 10.
How can you eyeball things? You're a smart guy.
That's true. Well, I've shit my pants from eyeballing MCT oil on multiple occasions, so.
We talked about that last podcast. Dudes got so mad. Yeah, I'll try your diet and shit my fucking pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you don't mad.
You can do a keto diet
and
and not take MCT oil. You don't have to. Or you can do it intelligently and fucking measure your dose and not get ballsy,
But if you're the average human being, let's just say you're an intelligent, let's be super honest about this. If you're an intelligent, healthy person that eats a reasonably balanced diet, you still have a 1% chance of shitting your pants every day.
You think it's that high?
No. It's not,
because that's one day out of every 100.
I know, that's like
I don't
3
shit
times
my
a
pants
year.
3 times a year.
No, I have to revise my numbers. How many? Maybe 1/10 of 1%, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 1,000 days. So if it's 1 in 1,000, like 1 in 3 years, there's a likelihood.
I think I'm living right if I shit my pants once every 3 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Glad you said that, not me.
Yeah. Yeah. If I don't push the envelope in
you're
in
not
one
taking any
direction or another.
chances.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not playing it safe.
Nope, not playing it safe. That's odd. Yeah, it's weird that certain foods that are good for you will also make you shit your pants if you do it wrong. It's like your body wants this real nice balance. I want a real nice balance of nutrients. Don't get fucking crazy with this stuff. Come on. Don't get crazy with that. What's all this oil? What's all this oil? Oh, you want diarrhea? You want diarrhea, motherfucker? Wow. Your body just says, I'm not dealing with this. Let's just flush it out.
The problem is that you think it's a fart. And you should know better, It's like, oh, that feels like air. We're good to let this out.
And then it's
not so much.
Full underwear.
Yeah. Not good. Then you got to drive home with your hips off the seat the whole way.
It's good exercise, though, for your lower pelvic.
Activate, loosen up the front side.
Male Kegels.
You're kind of doing a Kegel, holding it back.
Yeah, you are, definitely. Yeah.
Just staying puckered for an extended period of time.
Like women that do that competitively, do you know that there's like competitions to
where
see
they
how much
hold,
weight
they
they
hold
can
like
carry
something
with
inside
their vaginas?
the vagina?
Yeah. Those are some dedicated people. Like I would imagine most girls are like, vagina is great by itself. You don't really have to squeeze it until it becomes muscular.
You can train it,
fist of
though.
a thing. You can.
You know?
You can. But how
Just
many?
like training the brain.
You can. But how many people do it? I would like to know. If there was an anonymous thing where women can answer,
I
they
bet
didn't
that's
have to-
1%.
How many of them squeeze their pussy all the time and just do exercises like? Look at this girl. She's got some stuff up her punana, and then she's carrying weights around, and she's doing yoga.
Look at those
Record-setting vaginal weightlifter.
What's wrong with the pants?
Well, there's a hole in the middle of it where that rope goes through. That's one thing. That's a rough-looking rope too, man. That's like a rope that you would you would tie like a dog to a tree with. that's not
Look
like
at this.
That's
Oh,
not like
man.
a silk rope. That's a fucking rope, man. You
She's
know?
not bad. I really don't like the pants.
This
But
is
it's
crazy.
nice that she's moving through different positions, you know? She's not just standing there hitting qigong with it in there. She's actually working it.
This is the sexual equivalent to you taking that overdose of those pills or of that
the
shit you
powder?
were taking.
Yeah,
The
the
powder.
sexual equivalent?
Is exactly the sexual equivalent because you don't want to get jerked off by the Hulk. Okay.
I don't know.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
can't knock it until you've tried it.
I would just
mean,
imagine.
I would enter that and roll the dice and see how strong that is.
What if she grabs it like your fist? And
She's-
you're like, oh, Jesus.
She's like Pai Mei when he takes the
this.
arm. Do you want your cock back?
Like
your cock belongs to me now.
Grabs it like it hurts. Like, hey.
Well, it's still going to be wet, right? Hopefully.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, everything seems to be in working order.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a weird thing to want to be able to do, too. Carry the most weight with your pussy.
Yeah.
Like, you'd like to see, like, how did it go from that being a thought in your mind to one day I'll be the queen? One day I will carry the most weight to, like, putting it on YouTube and figuring out a way to put it on YouTube where you have pants that have a hole in them.
She started somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet that seed was planted early on in life. Probably too early.
Maybe. I don't know, man. Different strokes for different folks, right? If that's what you're into doing, some people play tennis. Some people are world record pussy weight holders. Just like, what the fuck, man? Okay. If dudes could grow their dicks, for sure. If there was an exercise that
What are you
could grow
talking
your
about?
dick.
You've talked about that.
Yeah.
Aren't there tribes in Africa where they hang shit from they got a penis head piercing and they hang different weights from their cock?
Yeah, there is some of that, right?
Just stretch it out.
Yeah,
And
but I
they'll do
don't
like
think that's the same.
they do like dick games where they'll be semi hard and they kind of work those muscles on top of the cock to flex the weight up and down.
Yeah, but if that was like as straightforward, so like the penis has to be erect in order for it to be hard. And if it's erect and hard, like if it's not a muscle that you could work out,
You have
is
a
what I'm
semi.
saying.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
more about just stretching it.
yeah, like but if you had a weightlifting exercise for the dick, like a bicep curl. You know how big the fucking line at the gym would be if someone invented that? No one would be waiting in line for the Stairmaster, right? They would be waiting in line to get on that dick building machine.
Just
Right?
all these dudes with their pants around their ankles, stuffed into a glory hole with some kind of weight on the other side.
Proportionately, like what percentage of girls that lift weight go immediately to booty exercises? Is it 100?
It's got to be.
I mean, any kind of squat rack or anything crazy, yeah, that's where you're going to find the girls that really want to put on that booty mass, right? It's like a high percentage.
Do you think the dick strengthener would make it shorter and fatter?
There would be dick strengthening gyms everywhere.
But would it turn you into a Coke can?
No, I think it would have to be like you could grow it out, like you could actually create more tissue. What is this? What are you showing us?
I can't find the name of this movie.
A guy's
I was trying. This is
hanging
some like Asian
weights
movie where
from his dick,
It's
they got like
a
all these
super
kettlebells
exaggeration of it, but
hanging from his dick, and the girl's like, oh, "I can't believe this."
she starts eating a banana in a second.
Oh,
Yes. What is the name of this
I
movie?
couldn't find the name. It's got to be a parody, but
She's got to keep them hard.
There's a black guy looking at him like, what the fuck? Are you coming up right there?
Damn, they keep stacking kettlebells on his dick. But if there was something like that, like something like a glute ham machine, you know, something that just targeted the dick.
You should talk to Rogue.
I don't think it's going to work.
You'd have one in here.
Probably would.
Start playing with prototypes. Fucking 100 people are going to send you one.
If anybody's going to figure it out, it's going to be Ben Greenfield. It's probably going to be some fucking...
Well, you know, I had him on Onnit's podcast after he was on yours the first time. And I was like, you know, what do you want to talk about? And we're in the sauna on it. And I'm like, I want to talk stem cells. And he's like, listen, no more dick stem cell talk. I was like, why? I was like, you're fucking great on Rogan. He's like, he goes, no, I don't want to be known as the dick stem cell guy.
Too late.
And I was like, well, yeah, you went on the wrong show. But, you know, we still talk stem cells. And obviously, you know, we were chatting before the show. It's fucking rad.
It's very cool.
We got to talk about the intravenous stem cells that he did.
Oh, Jamie showed me some more dudes tying weights to the end of their dicks.
It's on YouTube.
Oh, God, Jamie, this is not good. Oh, come on,
Oh,
sir.
that's at the base of his cock, and he was holding
Yeah.
on to the shaft while he was
Oh my
picking it up.
goodness. And then he gets up and he like gives blessings to everybody. Blessings. I carried the large walk with my cock. That's the weirdest part of that video.
He
And
handled
after
that win like Fedor.
After it's over.
No expression on the face. Just like, yeah, I know what I
That
can
is
do.
the weirdest way to pick up a rock with your dick and then end it. Watch. He gets up.
It's like adding dirt to it or something too. for
Well,
grip.
is that writing? Is that Indian?
I
is that
think
Hindu?
I think Hindi.
Hindi?
Yeah, Hindu.
Hindu's the religion. Hindi's the writing. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Look how they just allowed to show his cock and balls.
I think it's because it's like.
'Cause it's
science or
nature?
It's a
something.
feat of strength.
There was another video I did not pull up that was direct, like showing you how to do this kind of stuff with weights and.
Kudos to YouTube for allowing this. Look at this. He's grabbing the honker at the very end. He's got the rope wrapped around the middle, and homeboy's just gonna pick up this rock.
He's got to widen that squat stance. Yeah.
Dude, look at this. Blessings. I have the cock of death. Blessings. He's figured out a way to lift weights with his dick. Like he's actually doing it. And he seemed to be erect there.
People seem to be there to see him too.
Yeah,
Get a crowd.
children were clapping.
He's famous. He's the famous dick weight guy. Do you think he has pupils? Will he take on just like, what a great reality show that would be?
He has to. He can't
Yeah.
take that to the grave with him.
Yeah, you have some dude who was born with a small penis, and you send him to this guy, to the master,
To apprentice.
in India, and he just starts going through all the rituals, the stones, and the dick, and the sticks, and
There's got to be more
look at
to
it.
it.
Oh, look at
than
these
that.
guys. Oh,
I've seen
Jesus
this.
Christ. Using weights to enlarge your penis. They're swinging. Oh, Christ. That looks like 10 pounds. That looks like two 5-pound plates.
Is that Bolo Chong from Bloodsport? Or that's a woman?
Oh, wow.
They're not moving their hips. See,
They're not
using,
at
They're
all.
using the dick there. They're using dick muscle.
That is so crazy. So they have something tied to their dick. We can't see it because they have some sort of a skirt over it for people that are listening. It literally looks like a skirt. And then the rope is making this weight swing like a pendulum in between their legs. And they're not using their hips. They're doing it all with their dick muscles. Now they're practicing kicking in the balls. Very important to let a guy kick you in the balls. What? These guys blow testicles all the time, right? I know at least 2 or 3 guys that were kicked and blew out a testicle.
In a fight? Or
No, training mostly. I heard of it in training. I mean, I'm sure it's probably happened in fights too, but definitely in training. One of the Militech guys, like a real promising kid, had it happen to him. I'm trying to place his name.
Did it end his career?
I do not know. God, I really apologize for not remembering his name. I want to say Brian Foster. Is that who it was? He hasn't fought in the UFC in a long time, but in training, he got kicked low, and he didn't have a cup on. It's like one more round, that kind of deal. Like, hey, we'll spar one more round, fuck it, and wham!
I never understood that when guys wouldn't wear cups in sparring.
So crazy.
Don't roll the dice there.
It's too risky. Did you ever wear a tie steel cup?
Kane was big into that, but I didn't like that it went up your asshole. You know? That was like, oh, I don't know about that one. Plus, they're smaller. You know, like they don't, Like the American ones come out of ways.
with the bragging,
No,
bro.
no. I'm just saying. It looked like it'd be in a tight spot. That's all.
Yeah, well,
You know?
you can't make a cup for a 140-pound Thai guy and then make that same cut fit on gorillas like yourself. It's just you need a bigger cup. It's
Yeah.
just part of. You need bigger gloves.
I liked that there was a little bit of space. That's all I'm saying.
Do you have Is it like that leather thick padding around the edges of it?
No.
So like when it goes into you, it doesn't go into
was
you.
rubber.
It's straight. Right. Okay,
Yeah, it was like the rubber with a hard plastic, like a baseball cup.
A lot of guys like those. There was this dude, Amir Renovardi. He was one of Boss Rutan's proteges. And we used to train with him at Eddie's place, and he'd mount you, and he had that fucking steel cup, and it would be like he was crushing your sternum with his dick. It was uber uncomfortable. It was not fun. He was very good at that. He would mount on you and just crush you down like you and it's like unnatural leverage in arm bars as well. When you go over that steel cup, like you got a metal thing that you're bending someone's arm against. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal if you think about it. I mean, you would think like, wait a minute, like even a regular arm bar. Hold on, you're pulling his arm into your balls? Like what the fuck? Yeah, you are. Your dick and balls are resting on someone's arm when you give them an arm bar. That is just a fact. If you don't like that fact, your goal, in fact, is to get your dick and balls to rest on this guy's arm. But you're not thinking about that. You're thinking of getting your hips down on him, getting that arm in between your legs, or getting that arm in between your arms, in your legs, extending your body. But if you have a steel cup there, you got this crazy fulcrum. You got this weird leverage point, and it's made out of metal. It's a fucking metal piece. So instead of having vulnerable balls, you have this thing. You know, you have like a lever. You could snap shit better.
Mike Swick popped my rib out,
Dude.
8 days before a fight with his cup. This one right here.
Damn, it's still fucked up.
Yeah, it reset that way.
Wow. It's from
brutal.
those goddamn steel cups, right?
Yeah, he had me in the Swickatine and just dug his cup was right under a rib, and I was dead tired. Last round of training of the entire fight camp, and popped it out.
I wonder how controversial. I'm so out of the loop when it comes to grappling, grappling competitions. I wonder how legal they are. I wonder if they're allowed to use them at all. I wish Eddie Bravo was here.
No, I don't think they get to use cups of any sort in
Of
jiu-jitsu.
any sort.
Yeah.
Well, that
I
would
don't
be
think so.
crazy. I would want to wear a cup. I've been smashed in the nuts before in training. I would
I don't
want to
think
wear
you
a
get
cup.
to. I don't think it's allowed.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
No cups at all because of that fulcrum point.
Probably.
Yeah, it must be. It's crazy that your dick would become an advantage. Like, you know, like that area. Instead of like being like one object changes what that is. So it goes from being like a super vulnerable area to, ooh, if I get you there, you know?
Or even like north-south. Like Kane had had me in north-south and just fucking dig it into the side of my face.
Oh, Jesus
And I'm sure there's
Christ.
ball sweat there too. But I mean, really, that would fuck me up.
Yeah, you got a metal bar driving into your face, a real piece of metal. And if you kick those fucking things, you pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you kick those things and you slap it with your instep, it's like you might as well be kicking a rock or kicking the bottom of someone's elbow.
Worse than young Jamie running down the mountain in his Vibrams.
Yeah, young Jamie tried to go barefoot shoe running. Which one did you go? Did you get the Vivo barefoots or the?
Yeah, the Vivos, yeah. Super thin, super thin.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are
I
running
got.
on Chucks.
I have two different pairs of those. I got one that has like a lot of tread. That's like got a good thick amount of tread, and then another one that has less. And the one that has less, like you could feel the difference when you run like these real slippery, steep slopes. I need something where I can dig in if I'm trying to like sprint up to the top of the hill. I don't want to be worried about my footing. I want to be able. I'm tired at that point too. I'm going all the way up this fucking hill. I
Are
want to
Vivos
dig in.
are they toe shoes or they have full coverage?
Full coverage.
See, I like that better for running.
Yeah.
You know,
You stub your toe on shit. You can't watch where you have to like when I like the Vibrams. I wear them all the time. I don't have an endorsement with any of these people. I don't have any kind of deals. But what I like about the Vibrams is, for sure, it feels like you're moving more with your pinkies, like your pinky toes and the other toes. They're aware that they have a job. Whereas I feel like when I wear even barefoot shoes that have full coverage, I feel like they're lazy. They're just along for the ride.
Yeah,
we
we can take
hang
a
on.
break.
Yeah, we'll take a break. But whereas I feel all that shit activated, it might be just in my head, But when I run with 5-finger shoes on, or a trail run with those things on, I feel like my foot is moving just a wee bit more than even regular barefoot shoes. Something about having all those little fuckers free like that, and they're feeling the dirt the way they're supposed to. Like they're moving together the same way your hands move together when you grab, or you fall on gravel or something like that. Your hand, it moves together. It's thinking of how to cushion blows and how to stop something that's coming your way and how to interact with space. Whereas your foot is just kind of clubbing the ground all the time. I feel like with those shoes, the one thing I'm aware of is that the foot is acting like all the little individual muscles are helping to push me around.
It's massive. I've noticed that I'll walk.
You're wearing them right now,
I
ladies
wear
and
them.
gentlemen.
I wear them all the time.
He's wearing them right now.
No endorsement
This motherfucker
either.
walks around with them.
Yeah. Once I started
walk
walking
around
them on a long-term basis, especially doing longer walks and jogs, like there's a clear-cut difference.
Yeah.
You have to be mindful of every fucking step you take.
Yeah.
Especially if they're thinner soled. They make some thick-soled ones for trail running and whatnot. But
Yeah, I use those. The only time I use the really thin ones are at the gym. But yeah, those are the ones I have, Jamie. They're you just got to watch out for like sharp rocks. Then I don't have to watch out for sharp rocks in the other ones. Like if I'm running and something's kind of funky and I got to go, ooh, I don't want to land on that. I got to look.
Yeah, you got to pay attention.
Yeah. But with those other ones, I could just kind of hustle and breathe. I don't know, but maybe that's not as good. Maybe it's better to do it that way. Maybe it engages your brain more, forces you to think and make decisions while you're exhausted. Actually, it might be better. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might be like a better thing to do as a workout.
You're more present, too. You're not thinking about other bullshit. It's kind of like, when we're talking about archery or the cold bath or any of these things. It dials you in.
But I think part of it for some people with running is like that getting into the zone thing that you do. When you start getting a pace going and just get into that zone when you don't want to think about any other extraneous shit. And if you're doing that and watching every step you take, is it possible, I'm just throwing this out there, that it would like inhibit you from getting into the zone because you'd have to be too conscious about every step you're taking?
Maybe. I'm sure everyone's different, right? But for me, when I do that, I feel like it draws me into the zone, right? Because if I can just run on a fucking treadmill, I'm not worried about where my feet go, that kind of thing. And then my mind will wander then, right? Because I don't have to pay attention. It'll start thinking about other shit, especially if it's an easy run. My mind will wander then. It's not dialed in because it doesn't have to be.
Yeah. What kind of cardio machines do you use, if any?
Well, one that I really like, all I can use right now because my knee's fucked is the ski erg. And I like that. Aubrey and I will get on those and do some sprint work.
You were saying you have an MCL tear or
no,
meniscus?
torn meniscus.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no surgery required with that because of the placement. But
and so you got some stem cells on that?
Yeah, we did stem cells.
What did they do?
Last week, we did umbilical stem cells, intranasal, IV, and in the knee.
Jesus.
With glutathione.
Jesus.
The knee didn't hurt. Like I thought the fucking injection was going to hurt. Like they were going to wiggle it in with some long ass needle, but that wasn't bad. The pressure, once it goes in, that fucking hurt.
Stem cells fix my left knee. I was having problems with my left knee for years. I had a ACL reconstruction on that knee, and on that knee, they took some meniscus out as well. It's always been a problem. Like whenever I'd work out real hard, like 2 or 3 days in a row, it was always sore. Like I'd walk around, it was just sore. It was and then I have to warm it up to get going. One session with umbilical cord stem cells, and then I gave it a long time off, and I never had a problem with it again. Like it literally went away. It's like one of those things where I had a problem, now I don't have a problem anymore. Like hill running, kicking the bag, whatever I'm doing, using that Echo bike or the Versa climber, anything I'm doing with my knees, no problems.
Yeah,
It's
I'm just babying it now. But we work with this guy, Dr. Craig Conover, who did the stem cells. He's been doing vitamin IVs at Onnit for us, and he's a fucking savage. We'll do like the NAD treatments that Greenfield talks about.
Greenfield was telling me is really, really beneficial.
It is legit as fuck.
Tell me about it.
It feels like we get it done in IV.
What's the name stand for again?
I think it's nicotinamide, adenine, adenosine. I don't know, nicotine, adenosine dinucleotide. There we go.
Damn.
Anyways,
Smart savage.
It's a fucking it's basically food for the mitochondria. And you can influence that pathway through fasting, hot and cold therapy, high intensity intervals, different things like that. But just to get it mainlined into your fucking body, it feels like someone's got their hand on your stomach and they're slowly turning it. It doesn't feel good. You fucking sweat. If people have nasal issues, they'll sneeze.
Why does it feel like it's turning your stomach?
Well, I think the idea is that because it influences mitochondrial biogenesis, it's going to kill off any old mitochondria that need to go. But you feel that in the gut, and then you get new ones. And over time, I mean, we front load this 4 to 8 days in a row. And by the end of the 8th day...
What does that mean by front load it?
Every single day you do it for 8 days.
What?
Then you only need it like once a month or once every 2 weeks after that. Right? Little touch-ups after that.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So every single day you're getting gut wrenched?
Yeah, but by the end of it, you feel better. So because you've gotten rid of most of the bad shit, and again, that's theory. It's not, I mean, this is brand new stuff here.
Yeah, we got to be super
Most of the
careful
science
with
is
this.
on rats. Let me say that. This is theory.
Most of the science is on rats is always like a weird thing to say.
But I'll tell you, the feeling is there's no fucking doubt it works. I mean, anything that influences mitochondria influences everything. That's energy for your brain, cognitive function, heart, lungs, the whole nine.
Greenfield was saying that he had the mitochondria, the telomere lengths, when they check his telomere lengths.
Yeah.
That his biological age was 20.
So he started. Yeah, I listened to him. He had the telomeres guy on, right? And so I did the same test. And his biological age was 36 and his chronological age was 34. And I'm like, this motherfucker who was homeschooled K through 12 and is an Ironman triathlete is 2 years older biologically than chronologically. Where the fuck am I? I went to ASU, did all the bad drugs, been hit in the head fucking countless times. It's gotta be bad. So at 35, when I did mine, biological age of 41.
Whoa.
And I'm like, fuck. So, but right after he did the systemic stem cells through the IV, that dropped him from 36 to 20 years old biologically. And
how many did he do? How many sessions did he do?
I don't know. I think it was just after the first one. I know he's done them more, and he did different stem cells.
So why are you guys doing it so many days in a row?
For the NAD?
Yeah.
Well, the idea of front loading. You know, they used to say that with creatine. I think that's been debunked. But there are certain substances, especially with how they influence, you can really ramp up and change the body dramatically. And then after that, you just need little touch-ups here and there. Wow. But, so
what'd you feel like? What'd you feel like after it was
with
over?
the NAD?
Yeah.
I was like, I won't really be able to look at this like a quantified self. You know, I'm not going to be able to take numbers and shit. So what I did was I put myself through the meat grinder. I hadn't really been training a lot. And since, working my first real 9 to 5 kind of thing. And I trained twice a day, busted out the old altitude machine, was doing altitude every day. Hot and cold, I got the dual sauna on it. I do the cold bath at home. And all during that process, because we got the little guy, I wasn't sleeping well. So put myself through all that. My fucking cardio went through the roof. I never got sick. I recovered well. So I knew it worked. And on top of that, cognitive function, memory retention, everything was fucking scaling up a notch. And
Cardio?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Your cardio ramped up.
Anything that influences mitochondria affects fucking all of it. That's ATP throughout your entire body. And it's brain too. People think of like, oh, all right, that's one of the reasons they're looking at creatine right now as a nootropic. Because it influences ATP. And every fucking thing in your body runs on ATP.
Have they done studies on this yet?
I think Greenfield might be a better guy to ask, but I'm pretty certain that they've verified that creatine helps the brain now.
Makes sense if it helps muscles. I mean, if it helps blood flow. There's got to be a bunch of different things.
It's fucking cellular energy.
Cocktail.
It's cellular energy.
Yeah.
That's all ATP is, right? So everything runs on that one thing, and you're good there. Whether you're in ketosis or you're eating carbohydrates, it's all going back to ATP.
It's crazy. It's crazy you could do that. You could have someone inject something into you, and all of a sudden you get this recharged state. And then there's the debate. Okay, is this healthy? What's the long term?
Well, yeah,
research?
and then all the shit. It's funny because
what are the drawbacks?
I have a certain amount of followers online. Then you go to a company like Onnit and it's magnified, right? By 100, by 1,000, whatever. And, anytime I post shit, because I'll do stuff online for like the biohack of the week or the life hack of the week. And sometimes it's just run of the mill, go for a fucking farmer's walk with some weights in your hand, or keep a kettlebell in your trunk, and then you can always work out, whatever. Or sometimes it's more technology based, and we get a lot of shit on anything technology based. And of course, the argument then is, well, I believe I can get everything I need from a good diet and good nutrition and movement, and I don't need to inject shit to be healthy. And it's like, yeah, but I like Greenfield's model. You know, like you have 1 foot in ancestral living and 1 foot in the benefits of modern science.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I fuck with that?
I think that's a smart way to approach it. I think we have a real problem, and we always have, as human beings, being tribal. And I'm on Tribe Natural. I'm all natural, bro. You know, I'm not into hormones. I'm not, you know, I don't need my cell phone, man. I'd rather leave it alone. And then we got Tribe Science, who think that, you know, that science is going to figure everything out and nature ain't shit. And
Yeah, we're better than nature. We're smarter than nature.
Press forward. And that's obviously the extremes of each end. But people just tend to fucking do that, man. There was the most ridiculous video that I retweeted from Barstool. I think it was Barstool. Just find out who I retweeted it from so we can give them credit on their Instagram. But was it Barstool? It was a video at a baseball game. And one side was saying right field sucks, and the other side was singing left field sucks. And they would yell it out. On 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, right field sucks. Yeah. And everybody got pumped up. And the people over here like left field sucks. People are so stupid. They just like the team that sat on the left side is the best. Like here it is. Play this. Is it a Barstool?
Yeah.
All right, Barstool Sports. Shout out to Barstool Sports on Instagram. Look at it. Now these guys are getting fired up.
They're so thrilled.
We're not gonna take that. We're not gonna take that. But I gotta say, if I was there, I would enjoy every second of that. Especially if I had a couple beers and a hot dog in me.
I'd have been yelling it too.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what's fun, right?
And they're all rooting for the same team for the most part.
Who knows? How do they do that?
No,
But
they
do
don't fucking split the sides on a home.
Does anybody
home
ever do
game?
that?
No.
Do they do that in soccer?
It might happen. There might be a section, but there's still people all over the place.
For both teams?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not rooting on the same team. But, like, conceivably, they could
But
just go all...
that'd prove my point even further, though, because now you have both, you know, say it's Cubs and Giants.
Right.
You got Cubs fans and Giants fans sitting on the right field, both yelling to the left field, the left field sucks.
Yeah.
And Cubs and Giants fans on left field, both yelling it to right field. It's bringing people together, Joe Rogan.
Through hate.
Yeah.
At least it's fake hate. You know, they don't really think those people suck. I mean, if you all sat them down as individuals and said, what do you really think about these random people on the right? They're like, oh, they're just folks that are sitting over there watching the baseball game.
Is this a parallel for politics?
For life, my friend. For all of this life. I don't know, probably, right? There's probably something to that. That might be also why Trump could win again.
He
Right
can win
field
again.
sucks.
Well, anybody that believes that he won't win again, they're the same people that believed he stood no chance of winning the first time.
Dude, I took a photo of Jake Tapper on TV when the results were being read because he was, you know, doing one of them report things, and he had, through the entire election, he was like really very, very obviously in angst at the thought of this guy being president. And then when he finally became president, Jake Tapper's face is just like, it's so classic. It's one of those moments where you're like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm never going to forget that guy's face when Trump was elected because it was just like, what the fuck is this? It was just a crazy face. I mean, if everything works out, nobody dies, no extra people die because of Trump being president, this will be a very fascinating time to study. It'll be a very fascinating time. I don't think there's ever been a time like this, man. Drug laws are relaxing all over the place. They're pushing MDMA through MAPSs to get it to use for therapy for soldiers with PTSD, and it works remarkably well.
It works better than fucking anything.
Better than anything.
I've been able to guide a couple of those sessions, couples therapy sessions, not the PTSD sessions.
What's it been like?
Fucking incredible. I mean, I watched a breakup happen with that. And I've never seen people break up prior to that, so I don't really have the comparison. But just seeing, it's heart-opening medicine, you know? And I know that you haven't had great experiences with it in the past, but this pharmaceutical shit is a whole different animal.
No, I didn't have a bad experience. I only had a bad experience with the come
Yeah,
down.
there is no come down with the pharmaceutical. I mean,
Nothing?
fucking zero. And I
But
mean,
I thought it diminishes your dopamine
I've spoken
right?
to Rick Doblin about this twice. and-
Serotonin levels.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, as with any, I know it's not a true psychedelic, but with any psychedelic,
What
or
is a true psychedelic?
a true psychedelic, like Michael Pollan say, would be like a tryptamine-based psychedelic. The classical psychedelics, you look at,
Hallucinations.
yeah, and you're thinking of things
Visuals.
like mushrooms, LSD, you know, wachuma, peyote, ayahuasca, DMT. Those kind of things would be more traditional.
You know what, man? I would honestly say that I think in high doses, edible marijuana is a psychedelic.
Yeah, yeah. There's no doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt.
I mean, I've heard people argue against that. I'm like, man, I don't know. I think in high doses, when you close your eyes and lie down, like sit down on a couch on a high dose, and you're really, really flying.
I've had visuals from fucking Gorilla Glue, just smoking Gorilla Glue. My wife and I both.
What do you mean Gorilla Glue?
It's a strain, not actual
Oh.
glue. Yeah, I was
like,
huffing
what?
glue with my wife.
I was
We
like, where
experiment
did
with anything.
This fucking podcast took a turn. I was like, Kyle Kingsbury's so savage, he's out there smoking glue.
Nah, Gorilla
What about
Glue's
the kids, Kyle?
It's the name. Yeah, I'm not going to be a good father.
Jesus. And you experience
it's a strain.
visuals?
It fucking full blown, you know.
You
But
can get them, man. If you get high enough. McKenna used to say that the way to do it was to not get high for long periods of time and then smoke as much as you can handle in one setting.
That's not my jam. I've been using like 1 milligram THC spray, and I microdose cannabis fairly often, just in the evening, and it helps with sleep. But this MDMA, man, it's a whole fucking different ballgame. I think
That's interesting.
I think you should try, if I can request at some point, you try the pharmaceutical grade MDMA just to know what it's all about. Because Rick Doblin was saying you give it space like you would with a classical hallucinogen. You're not supposed to fucking go back to work the next day or do a bunch of bullshit, tedious, drawn back into the real world. Give it space, journal, meditate, throw on some easy listening music, and rest. And if you do that, you're fine, because in their protocol, they're not allowed to use anything else but the MDMA. So I asked him, like, why don't you guys have a protocol for 5-HTP, vitamin C, different things we know help build back the neurotransmitter support you may have lost? And he said, just with the finagling with the FDA and everything they have to go through, he says it's fucking impossible. But if we give them that day off, they're gold. And then, of course, New Mood, plug on it again, was designed for that experience, to be able to curtail any kind of come down. I've had zero issues after using the pharmaceutical grade.
Yeah, what was the original name of it? Roll on, roll off, or what was it?
Something like that. Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, he was 5-HTP boosters. 5-HTP supplementation has been going on for a long time. A lot of
Yeah.
people have been into that. It's
It
a
works.
smart, it's a smart way to approach MDMA, to stock up, to have a bunch in your system. So your body's gonna have to build this shit up again, because you're gonna flood it with it for a while. So you're gonna have this weird little period where your body's gonna struggle. But it's a thing that I would hope, if these studies do continue to prove without a doubt that it's beneficial to a lot of these people, that they make it available to more people.
It will be. It will be.
It should be quick, man.
They estimate 2022, I think, or 2023 at the latest.
That's not that bad.
But it got the FDA made it breakthrough drug, I think, breakthrough drug, which is like on the fast track to go through.
I think the whole world would be way better if everybody was on just like a microdose of ecstasy all the time. Just a little like,
I don't know that could last, but that would be medicine,
just a
because
little
it's
microdose.
that's the thing. You talk about compassion and all these other important lessons that have been talked about in all spiritual texts. It's automatic. You drop right into that.
Yeah. Do you think that it's possible to train your brain to produce more of it? Do you think through meditation and mindfulness and all these different, practices that people do to stay present, to be more open and more loving, that you could build that up almost like a muscle?
I don't know that you could build serotonin up over time. I'm sure there's some type of cap where nature does not want us to be happy 24/7.
Is there any tricks though?
But yeah,
to
there's
getting it to turn on.
There's a book, The Science of Mindfulness by Dr. Ronald Siegel. It's on one of the great courses on Audible, and he's a Harvard professor, and he talks about the brain like a fucking muscle. And science has backed this. The more you train that, the easier it is to drop into. And I've had coaches, breathwork coaches, we're working with The Art of Breath. Rob Wilson and Brian McKenzie came out and they did like a full fucking blown day of breath working on it. And the more often you can shift into parasympathetic state from fight or flight sympathetic, you shift consciously through breath into that parasympathetic state, that becomes trainable. You can do that over and over again. And then all it takes is just a couple deep breaths and you're back, right? Because you train that. The fucking body remembers, the brain remembers. And when you're in those states, that shifts everything from the neurochemical response to the brainwave state. You can drop from beta into alpha into theta.
That's fascinating stuff, man. It's crazy to think what we understand about the various pathways these chemicals have to go through. And then what is like still confusing. Like, here's the big one. Where's the consciousness coming from exactly? How does it all become the thing that's looking through Kyle Kingsbury's eyes and seeing me and mine looking at you? What is that thing? What is that thing? That seems to be like almost like an energy that runs through this machine.
It's through fucking everything.
Yeah.
It's in all things.
But if we thought about it that way, like, you'd be so much more concerned with keeping that energy high. I mean, how much of what people experience when it comes to the word depression, how much of it is their life going bad, tragedy, poor health, bad job choices? How much of it is some sort of a weird genetic thing? There's so many variables as to what causes depression, but such a giant number of people suffer from depression.
Well, I think it only, if I'm being honest, I think it's going to get worse. Like, you look at the way we live and the closer and closer, you've spoken about that. We're just talking about fucking New York. We're not meant to be that confined. We're not meant to sit out. Like, we're withheld from the fucking sun right now.
Yeah.
So many of these things communicate with our bodies. I'm working with a genetic specialist, Ryan Frissinger. He was on Chris Ryan's show. Sunlight influences 500 on-off switches on our epigenetic level. For the good, unless you fucking overdo it, right?
500.
500 plus on-off switches in our DNA are affected by sunlight positively, right? I mean, that's why they look at vitamin D3. Take that for example. They're calling that a hormone now, not a fucking vitamin.
Really?
Because it's a messenger. That's how much it influences in the body. Incredibly important. So when you think about all these things like being barefoot, being connected to the earth, going in the fucking ocean, science will catch up in certain ways, but we get fixated on the thing. We get fixated on our phones, on whatever TV is going on. We're closed off from other people. We think, communicating through Facebook is the same as being fucking face-to-face. It's not. And the more we head that direction and we're putting, as you put it, putting fucking shit food in our body for mouth pleasure, that influences the brain, right? 80 to 90% of all of our neurotransmitters are made by the bacteria in our gut. So you think the shit meal is just going to put on 5 pounds. It's not. It might put on 5 pounds, but it's going to fuck your brain up for a while. You make you a little bit more emotional. Fuck with your sharpness, your memory recall. All that's impacted. Sleep's impacted. I wish Michael Walker talked a bit more about that. I just don't think it's in his wheelhouse.
I don't think it is. He's just a guy who studies sleep and the effects on it. But fuck, was that illuminating, and eye-opening. That podcast was so important to me.
It was fucking fantastic. I think his book is really good, but as far as like dialing in sleep, it's more of this is what happens when you don't sleep. Mm-hmm. Sleep, the book Sleep by Nick Littlehales is probably my favorite because that gives you it's a fucking how-to guide on how to maximize sleep.
And when you were younger, lack of sleep didn't affect you the way it affects you now, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything he talks about, like with that shift that you have, that happens in adolescence where you become a night owl, no doubt. And I probably still could stay out a little bit later until having a kid, and then that's your immediate reset.
Yeah.
Bitch, you're getting up when the sun comes up.
Yeah. Be prepared, sir. Get ready. Yeah. It's there's so many different factors that lead to a healthy body, but how much of a healthy body leads to a happy mind? That's where it gets. Like, you can't blame some of these people that are suffering from like a disease. Some of these people that have like something wrong with the way their brain is producing these happy hormones.
Yeah, I don't think you can say it's just this one thing. Like, well, if you just ate clean, or if you just went keto, or you just ate paleo, then you wouldn't have depression. I don't think that's it at all. But certainly that's a factor.
It
You know,
certainly could be a factor.
Being in
for
nature,
sure.
being in nature is a factor. And unpacking trauma. Gabor Mate says at the heart of all fucking addiction is some form of trauma.
Yeah, I'm sure. Completely makes sense. Yeah, his theories on that are fascinating. I never thought about it that way. That some form of trauma during your developmental stage has led you to like seek out this weird, crazy feeling and experience. When you have you known many people that have had like serious addictions, like meth or?
Oh yeah, yeah. Without naming names, people very close to me, family members, have been addicted to meth. Lost a cousin to pills. I've been going to AA, not for me, for a family member since I was 3 years old. So I've seen that, you know.
What is that trauma based? Is like everything, because don't pills just get everybody?
Yeah, pills can get everybody. There's no doubt about that.
Unless you wean yourself off, you have like real issues,
there was
right?
some trauma there in all of those circumstances. And I'm not saying, you know, pills can fucking grab you. There's no doubt. But certainly with the meth and the alcohol, which was other things, you know, no doubt there was trauma there.
Yeah, I've known of quite a few people that got fucked up on pills after operations or injuries or stuff like that. But I know quite a few of them that kicked it. You know, that just realized it was happening. When whoa, down, like Schaub's talked about it quite a bit. When he fought Crow Cop, his nose was destroyed, so they had to rebuild his nose, and he started taking pain pills. And he said after a while, he's just taking them every day just because he just wanted to take them. And then his friends came over and cleaned out his medicine cabinet. I'm like, cut the shit, dude. It's 4 months later. You're still taking these things all day long. You can't do that anymore. And he's like, whoa. He said he almost didn't even realize he was doing it. It just kind of caught a hold of him.
Yeah, shit becomes habit, especially when it's that euphoric. Right?
Must be amazing. You know what I took the other day? I took a large dose of kratom.
Ooh.
You know, yeah, everybody always tells you that kratom is one thing at a small dose. You know, it's kind of 2 pills. To me, seems almost like a stimulant.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and even up to 4 pills. But you get into the land of 8 pills. I took 8 pills the other day. I was like, whoa, I am high. I'm like, I'm fully functional. I'm not worried about the way my body moves. Like, it's not like I'm going to fall down when I'm walking. Everything seems like it's working good, but I'm clearly high. But
Yeah.
I'm not high in a bad way. Like, I can talk fine. I can remember things, full conversations, happy, remember people's names, but I'm definitely high.
Yeah, kratom's a funny one. You know, it's still an opiate. It's still hitting those receptors.
Is
in
it
the brain.
actually an opiate?
Yeah, I believe it is.
What are they?
Well, Hamilton Morris from Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia.
He's
said
coming on
listening.
soon.
Yeah, he's, you know, that's one of the things he says, because he's not spiritual. Even though he does all these psychedelics, so he gets really pissed off when people call it plant medicine or teacher planner and theogen and shit like that. And he's like, you have to fucking say it. You call it what it is, right? I'm sure he didn't.
There's a
drop
lot
an
of
F-bomb.
that. There's a lot of that fuckery, though, right?
Yeah.
There is.
But at the same time, I mean,
It's also real in a lot of times.
Yeah, you can take
Yeah.
mushrooms recreationally, or you can do the heroic dose and be guided. And you can do ayahuasca in the Amazon, and it's a fucking world different.
Yeah,
You know,
oh,
it's
for sure.
a totally different experience. But yeah, going back to kratom, thankfully, I've always had this thing with opiates where if I had too much, I get nauseated really bad. So I can take 1 or 2 pills, and it is a mild stimulant. I drove to Greenfield's house when I was living in Vegas to podcast with him, 1,000 miles each direction, and I just have 1 pill every 3 hours.
Wow.
And it was awesome. I felt great. But
So
if I
one
get
pill every 3 hours just kept you focused while you're driving?
Yeah, and I felt there's mild euphoria. I felt good being in that little ass Prius the whole way, you know, which is important, right? Let me sweeten the deal.
I don't even know how you climb in that thing, man.
I gotta
Those
fucking fit
things-
in there.
those
But
things are so small.
if I take 3 or more, I'm fucked up. Like I'm riding that fence. Am I gonna
Interesting.
puke? Am I gonna puke? So I think
Interesting.
that's
So even for you, they have the same reaction that like an oxy would have.
Yep. And I've had, I mean, in college, I did some weird shit. I keistered an oxy once and felt fucking amazing.
For the folks not learned in the ways of the dirty dogs, he put it up his asshole.
2 knuckles deep. Not super deep. 2
Keistered.
knuckles deep.
People are like, what? Keistered?
So we gotta hit
Most
the Google bar.
dudes would just go, oh, well,
Yeah, like that last time when I was on your show, they're like, "Oh, you lost me when you told me the trees started talking to you when I was describing an ayahuasca experience." That'll be the one this time. You lost me when you talked about putting a pill up your ass. That's when they turned off the podcast. But yeah, I felt fucking great that one time. I tried it. I snorted one later, like a few weeks later, and I was fucked up. I was fucking puking the whole time.
You snorted it?
You could suck off the. I don't want to tell people how to do bad drugs. I want to tell people how to do good drugs.
Why would you snort it? Because it goes right into your bloodstream?
Yeah. You can suck off that time release, crush it up, let it dry.
Wow.
So, but that was like, well, yeah, thankfully I still have this fucking regulator in my body that says don't put these fucking super addictive man-made chemicals in your body.
That's fascinating. Do you think is kratom man-made?
No, it's
some sort of a plant, right?
It is plant-based. I mean, all this shit's plant-based. The issue is when we take something and we fucking concentrate it and change it in a way to where it just really has an affinity for receptors, and we lose out on all these other alkaloids and terpenes and things like, look at Marinol versus whole plant cannabis.
Oh, right.
It's a whole
so you're
different
saying
fucking ballgame,
if they
right?
take this stuff and then turn it into an actual drug that they sell, they're only going to sell parts of it, right?
Yeah, they're selling the active ingredient, like cocaine versus fucking coca leaf.
Right.
Totally different experience.
Have you ever had coca tea?
I've had coca tea. I've thrown coca leaf. They call it mambe in Colombia. You put
chew
it in your mouth.
mouth?
Chew. Yeah.
How is it?
It's fucking amazing.
Really?
It's like a cup of coffee though. Like less jittery. Your brain turns on. It's a nootropic. You feel like $1 million.
We can't
good
have
shit.
it because of Miami. Mm-hmm. They fucked us. Their whole city's made out of coke. Did you know that?
No.
No, dude. Have you ever seen Cocaine Cowboys?
Yes.
Dude, that's all Miami. That area of Florida. At one point in time, I don't know if it's still the case, but Miami had more banks per capita than any place else in the country because everybody was just laundering coke money, and coke was just coming in like crazy. There's so many great documentaries on it. It's a really, really fascinating time in like history. Like during Cocaine Cowboys once, shout out to Billy Corbin, the first one, they talked about how many of these police officers wound up dead or in jail. And it was like an entire class, graduating class, either was dead or in jail for corruption by the time they had made this this time period, however many years it was of this cocaine trafficking. It was crazy, man. Like it's a incredible time in like human history. Man.
This article says that it's ramped back up to those 1980s drug war heights of production.
Whoa. Okay, so how's it getting in? That's the question.
Yeah.
How are they getting it in?
I don't think that's a problem.
I don't think it is either, but how are they doing it? And how do they, I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's why.
Where are you
so
putting
much
all that money?
There's so much money in it that...
What? Look at this. Florida Customs and Border Protection confiscated 4,200 pounds of cocaine last year compared to 1,730 pounds the year prior. Dude, that's so
that means
much
the guy that was getting paid off the year before got caught.
Maybe.
How else are they getting it in?
Maybe they just caught more coke that time. Maybe they're getting coked up and then they're taking the boats. They just taking risks. I know where these fucking cops hide. I know them better than they know themselves. We've never seen cocaine production at these numbers. Oh, Jesus Christ. Stay the fuck out of Miami for a while, folks. It could get crazy.
Or go there.
Yep, I like the way you think, dude. Into the fray. Mm-hmm. You know?
Where's the party? Miami.
The DEA estimates Colombia produced 710 tons of pure cocaine last year, or enough to fill about 18 semi-trucks.
Did you see that?
That's so crazy.
They found the first coca farm in Mexico.
Oh, Jesus. That could be a problem.
Yeah. Well, it actually might help with the drug wars.
Really?
If they can grow it. And
Get
they
them
can
to fight against each other? Is that
They
what you're
can
saying?
grow it. Yeah. Mexicans and Colombians have been fighting for a long ass time.
So they would start fighting with each other and that would help the drug war?
They would fight less because Mexico would have its own production. But, I mean, they said it was growing in a place that wasn't the same altitude, and obviously cocaine is an alkaloid that is really, it grows at altitude. So you want that environmental stimulus for that. You know, you want the hormetic stressor in order for it to produce more cocaine pound for pound, and I think it would produce far less. That's at least what they were saying in the article, which makes sense to me.
What's the justification for what is this, Jamie? What are you showing me?
This is the drug mule. Yeah, that's how they're getting it in. It says speedboats, drug mules, and on
This poor old
flights,
lady.
but-
Look at this poor old lady.
She's holding a kilo.
She looks like she's about 70 years old, maybe older, maybe 80 years old, and she's fully strapped up with cocaine. I mean, who could blame this lady? Do you think she's out there hustling? She got a pistol in people's faces.
She
and
got the shit
buying
beat
that
out of her
coke?
too. That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
So we need more good drugs and less bad drugs.
We definitely need more good drugs. We need to do something to get this wave of negativity that so many people are experiencing on a regular basis.
Do you know?
Settle that down and bring that up?
Do you know anybody that's done ketamine treatment
Yes.
and pretty good results? Right?
Neil Brennan had very good results. He liked it quite a bit. He's done a bunch of different things for depression, magnetic things, and ketamine things. He said ketamine was very effective.
Yeah, I had one of my first coaches, striking coach. He had, he'd been put on every kind of fucking SSRI for years and just felt like shit. And he did 4 ketamine treatments, and he's down to like 1 SSRI. He's off 90% of his medication. He says he's never felt better.
Wow.
And like that shitty voice that everyone has in their head that was so loud for him is non-existent now.
Whoa.
Yeah, we got to do that. Dr. Craig put us through it's slightly different. Most of the people that I think that are doing ketamine treatment do it IV. We had an intramuscular injection of ketamine.
That's the John Lilly.
It was fucking insane. Like 40 minutes long. And it was kind of tied in with the stem cells, really to just be in a state of allowing and whatever subconscious level of accepting this foreign substance into your body. Let's kind of move the needle on that. Again, that's theory.
What's the experience like? It's a psychedelic, right?
It is, but it's different. So again, we talked about the classical types. Tryptamine base going to fit in serotonin receptors in different parts of the brain. This is a dissociative, so it pulls you back layers. Like we talked about Eckhart Tolle last time, how he talks, be the observer, be the witness of your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. Just pull yourself back a layer and kind of see your mind chatter as this interesting thing, like kids arguing, right? This will force that, and it pulls you back layers beyond that, like to the point where you're not in your body. But when you re-enter your body, there's a lot of gratitude, and you can kind of see things where they are. You understand now, like, oh, this is how I was feeling before, but I've been removed from it long enough to when I come back to it, I can recognize it for what it is.
Whoa.
And I don't have depression now, so doing it was just more of a, let's see what happens, kind of intention, as opposed to like people that are going in there working on shit. Might be a bit different for them, but it was fucking bananas.
Yeah, I've never touched it. I knew a guy who got addicted to it though, as a street drug, as a party drug. Some people snort it.
Yeah, I've snorted it.
Yeah. What does it do?
It's kind of like LSD. You have a microdose of LSD, completely different experience than a full hit or 2 to 5 to whatever. All different experiences. If you take like a key bump for people with the lack of the terminology would just be like the end of a key's worth into a bag. You just quick little snort. And it's very relaxing. You want to move. But, if you push the envelope a little bit, because it's disassociative, it's very disorienting. Like you can, like, I don't know where the fuck I am or what's going on. If you go really far, it's similar to injecting it, where you go in the K-hole, you're kind of paralyzed, and close your eyes, you're in a different spot.
Ooh.
You're in a different spot. But the psychedelic trip
When
from
you
that
say you're
is-
in a different spot, like you're in a different place, like psychedelic?
Yeah, like you could be, for 30 to 45 minutes, you could be in a vision, you could be elsewhere. Your consciousness is not in your body.
Dude. That's the K-hole.
Yeah, that's the K-hole.
Yeah. The guy who invented the sensory deprivation tank used to do it intramuscularly and then climb into the tank.
Yeah, I heard that he had, at one point by the end, he was so hooked on it that he would run an IV so he could stay on 24 hours in there. But I was telling you about that book that he wrote, The Center of the Cyclone.
Yeah.
That was a fucking fascinating book, because he would get, as a medical doctor, 300, he'd get ampules of 300 IU from Sandoz Pharmaceuticals of pharmaceutical grade LSD, do that intravenous, then get in the float tank for 10 hours. And the trip reports he has, when you read these, they're very ayahuasca-esque, like talking to other beings and other consciousness, DMT-like experience, but 10 hours, not fucking 15 minutes. And just fascinating. Like and as a doctor, so detailed in his explanation of what he's seeing, what it means to him. Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that's an experience that once you know that you can have, I don't know that if I would have a real hard time fitting into regular life if I knew that I could just have that 10-hour, like the DMT flash of 15 minutes of the weirdest interactions with whatever they are, whatever those things are. When you come back, imagine that for 10 hours. It might like just change everything about your perceptions of life. You might just give up on civilization and move to the forest or something. You might, and that's exactly what happened to the Unabomber. The Unabomber was a part of the Harvard LSD studies. They juiced that guy to the tits.
Damn.
And then afterwards, he went to be a professor at Berkeley so he could save up enough money so he could buy a fucking house in the woods and blow up the people that are creating technology, because the technology is what's going to supplant human beings. It's going to take over, usurp our position on Earth or some crazy shit. And he just decided he was going to kill all these fucking scientists. And you remember that? He was like,
yeah, but that's an odd take. I had a different take on technology in a ayahuasca ceremony where I saw pretty much what's happening now. It was like this beautiful merging. It wasn't Man Left Behind. It wasn't super intelligence with Nick Bostrom where we have to worry about this thing taking over. Like, we fucking stayed neck and neck with it and integrate with it throughout. And we do change. We're not the fucking same, but we're not the same now. That's one of the things they talked about. Like, who's the first cyborg? Eyeglasses. You wear fucking eyeglasses, you're a fucking cyborg. That's man-made technology integrated into your being that changes your perception of reality.
Sure.
Right? So we're already doing that with our fucking phones. We're already there. You know? People
Cars.
think you have this weird idea that it has to be implanted into you in order for that to be the case. We're already fucking there.
Yeah, we're there both with the connection with this thing that's always in our pocket, and then with transportation. And then your transportation hooks up to the connection so you can listen to things. How many times you're in your car, you're listening to a book on tape through Bluetooth, or a podcast that you download.
That's everything.
It's crazy.
Aubrey has a chapter in his book, Own the Day, on that. It's mindfulness or mindfulness. So when you're driving, like, what's the worst part of fucking most people's days? The commute, right?
Yeah.
So you can choose to be a pissed off guy. You can listen to talk radio. You can do all these things. Or you can practice mindfulness meditation where you're resetting yourself. You're giving yourself some quiet time. Obviously, eyes are open while your hands are on the wheel. Or you do mindfulness where you fucking throw on a dope podcast or a book from Audible. And you would take information in that's going to help you fucking grow as a person, right? It's
or
so
just
important.
even be entertaining. I enjoy fictional books. I like some fiction on audiobooks.
What's your favorite
it's fun.
fiction?
You know what? I love Stephen King books, but I do not like it when he reads them. You need to hire a fucking professional. God damn it!
See, I like the author. If the
I do
author
almost
reads it.
always. I'm reading The Tipping Point from Malcolm Gladwell, and hearing him do the audio part is great, because he's very passionate about the subject matter, and he's the guy that wrote it. And so him reading out these results and all these different facts and really fascinating things about the tipping point and, certain trends Stephen King is like, he's a brilliant, brilliant writer. Like, one of my favorite writers, for sure my favorite horror writer. I loved his shit. Like, I used to read him when I was taking the train to go to Taekwondo practice. I would read Stephen King books all day long. That's all I'd read. So I was always a giant fan of his, but as a professional actor, perhaps do a more spirited job.
I've had some fucking bad actors on Audible.
Yeah, you can get some bad ones.
But like radio host, like, in the next chapter, we're going to tell you why advanced glycation end products are the devil. And you're like, fuck off, dude. Like, it's just, it ruins it for me.
Well, especially when telling a story, this is my thing. You need someone who has a very good sense of theater. Like, the way they communicate the words, the way they say the words, the emphasis they put on each individual word, especially with fiction. That's really important.
It's odd to me though that like Audible doesn't coach him on that, because Aubrey was saying when he did the book, he was non-fucking stop coaching. Like
Aubrey?
If he was reading something, they'd be like, "Excuse me, Mr. Marcus, we're gonna have you go ahead and reread starting at the top of the page. It sounds like your mind's in a different place." Like they would catch everything, every influx. Because he's got to read far ahead. You got to know where you're going with it, all that shit. And he said maybe they've changed over time with their approach to that, but
well, I think it's probably completely different for different subject matter. Aubrey's book is obviously a self-help book, Own the Day, but other books that are stories about like monsters or some shit like that, like what's required of the guy reading it has to have a sense of theater. He's telling a story. There's got to be the pauses have to be like a professional, like a professional voice actor. That's what you want for those things. Yeah, they're better at it. They're just Stephen King's a wizard at writing. I mean, he's fucking phenomenal. But I don't want to hear him doing different voices and shit. Like, it's just too weird. He's got a great book though, and it's great not just for writers, but for everybody. It's Stephen King on writing. It's really interesting because it's sort of there's a lot of his sort of life and work philosophy in the book, and I feel like when I read about someone who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest contributors to like fun books and fun horror movies. I mean, he's an all-time king to me. And so to be able to say like, well, what was going on in that guy's head as he was writing Carrie? Like, how did he conceive of Christine? Like, what's his process? What's his process for writing? It's really interesting, man. First of all, he doesn't even know what the fuck he's going to write. Like when he starts something, like he doesn't know where he's going. He just does it, and as he's doing it, he figures out where it's going to go. Like that's part of the genius of his method, is that it's not like this sort of like.
He doesn't have a fucking outline.
Yeah, Bob is going to get bit by the snake, and then Bob's going to turn into a horse, and then all this stuff is going to happen, and then his wife's going to fall in love with that horse, and then he's going to be mad when he becomes a person again. He just goes with it. He just shows up every day and just puts in the time and focuses on it and then makes it happen. So what a crazy way to make a living, to just invent stories and weird things that happen and just put it all together in your head and then give it to people like, look what I've done. I came up with a story, and then you open it, you're like, fuck, where's the story going? The story's crazy. It's a really interesting way to make a living, because he's using, like he's flexing one very specific part of his brain that most people don't really use at all or hardly ever use.
Most of us don't have any type of creativity left. It's sucked out through school. We're fucking taught to just go sit and be a cog in the machine.
Unless you're super fortunate and have a job where you can create.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, man.
Got to tickle that piece, though. I met this guy, Ted Decker, who's one of fucking Aubrey's greatest mentors out in Sedona. And he's a fictional writer for the most part. But just fucking, he's a wizard. And I was doing a water fast. So I had a 5-day water fast. I only
just water?
Just water for 5 days.
How long did you make it?
4.5.
Damn. You gave up a half a day early?
Well, the thing was...
so close to home.
The thing was, the science shows 4 days, right? 4 days is the magic mark. So the extra day was just like, all right, I got an extra day to go. But we hiked Cathedral Rock in Sedona, and it's fucking epic. And there is an energy there, like New York, but different.
But what's going on with Sedona? Why is Sedona all this? This is Sedona.
Well, from what I understand, why it's the hippies traveler's guide and everybody wants to be there is, are you familiar with pulsed electromagnetic frequency?
I've heard that those words.
So for everybody everyone that's about to jump on the fucking woo-woo bandwagon and shit on me right now, punch in the Google bar. Do me a solid. Punch in the Google bar. NASA study on PEMF.
Okay, let's check this.
3-year fucking study.
So
it's verified. Where the Earth has its own energy field. Right. Well, whether you think the Earth's alive and it's Gaia and all that, I'll leave that up to you. But it has its own fucking energy field. And so it's not the same. It's not equal throughout the Earth. There are places where that's accentuated, and you feel that more. You feel it more when you're in the ocean. There's negative ions there. Wallace J. Nichols wrote
Physiological and Molecular Genetic Effects of Time-Varying Electromagnetic Fields on Human Neuronal Cells. I've never seen that word before. I've seen neuronal
cells.
Neuronal. Like the way they're saying.
Neuronal.
Why is it? Is it just because it's all in caps that it looks so weird to me? You know, occasionally a word just looks weird. That looks weird. That word, neuronal.
Neuronal. There's a good book, PEMF. I forget the author, but they dive into that. I think it has to do with that. I think it has to do with that.
This is
so you
interesting.
really
Look
do
at this.
feel that energy there. It's palpable, and it's not fucking make believe. So knowing that we'd be in this special place, knowing that I'd be with some really interesting people, and that if I was to take some medicine at that point in time after fasting for 4 days,
What
that it-
Hamilton Morrison would call drugs.
Yes, what he would call drugs. So I had 200 micrograms of LSD.
Okay.
And I won't mention anybody else that had it with me just because maybe don't sign off on that kind of shit publicly. But we hiked to the top of the Cathedral Rock, and it's fucking incredible. I mean, incredible. And another buddy of mine who's a teacher at Black Swan Yoga, he brought up some really good cacao from the chocolate, but pure fucking cacao from Guatemala. He made it into these drinks. And that's what I broke the fast with.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
And there's chemicals in that. You know, like it's funny when people fucking qualify as drugs because, like Terrence and Dennis McKenna say, like we are walking bags of chemicals.
Right.
This caffeine that I'm drinking right now is a fucking drug.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Theobromine in cacao is a drug. It's an alkaloid in cacao that will elevate heart rate. It's a mild diuretic, and it fucking opens the heart. It's like a microdose of MDMA.
Really?
Yeah.
Cacao
so
is?
stacking that. Why do you think people fucking love chocolate?
What?
It's amazing.
But
Theobromine special
chocolate
shit.
would have like the tiniest amount of it. Is
It
that the
depends
case?
what chocolate you're eating, right? If
Okay,
you're eating
like a
some
dark chocolate.
really bitter dark chocolate, that's going to have higher amounts, you know. But we had a fuck ton of this. Like you're supposed to have 4 ounces is like a good dose
4 ounces of liquid or
of this liquid with their special preparation method.
my special blend, my friend.
Special blend.
So
And,
what is the like what is like a shake? Like is there other stuff in it that they mix it with?
there's some cayenne, there's lemon juice, there's different things that help activate it. It's done the
Whoa.
way the Mayans did. It's been passed down generation after generation.
And it's like microdosing MDMA.
Yeah, and so stack that with the LSD, and it's kind of like a candy flip.
Now, could people just go buy cacao and microdose MDMA?
Well, you got to order it offline and do the or online and do the preparation properly. But I mean, there's no doubt you feel different. It's warming. You feel more loving.
Really?
You're sensitive to touch.
But this is not in any way illegal, right?
No, it's not anywhere illegal. But I was
Cacao
talking to,
is,
I was talking-
food.
Yeah, I've been talking to a guy who was like, look, if they fucking just discovered cacao today, they would say potentially this is drug. This is a
I've
drug.
never heard this before. This is
Theobromine,
fascinating.
fucking look it up. There's a ton of shit. This guy that's on selfhacked.com, I forget his name, but he's a wizard and he has like amazing articles on different chemicals. Wow. He talks about 13 scientifically backed studies on theobromine that are all human studies.
Dude.
It's dope shit. So anyways, we take this and we climb the mountain. We're in nature. We're doing fucking Wim Hof breathing and different shit up there. We look the part. We were sticking out like sore thumbs. Like fucking 230-pound guy with his shirt off doing.
Why snorting cacao could be the next party drug. Next big party drug. Oh my God. And that's on Maxim.com.
So we take
Jesus Christ, this is crazy.
we take our substances. We're up there, and you know this guy. He's got like 12 books that are number one bestsellers.
This guy's gonna snort it. Is he joking around? He's joking around as fuck.
I don't think so.
He's not snorting.
Oh, those are key bumps.
Key bumps. What are you saying? He's gonna snort that?
Yep.
He is gonna snort that. Here we go. Let me see what you got, son.
Fucking pound it.
You
Look at
pound
that.
it. You just pound it up your
Attaboy.
nose.
Attaboy. I have snorted theobromine recently as the office guinea pig. That's not the way I would recommend administering it.
What's
But,
wrong with going up the nose? Uncomfortable?
Well, it's not that bad.
No.
That's not a blanket recommendation for people though.
But this is not a dangerous substance.
No. I mean, too much of it, you know, there's a fucking upper limit to anything, even water. But, you know, on the mountain, going back to this, on the mountain
Sorry.
with Ted Decker.
Ted Decker. Hi, Ted.
Ted's the fucking man. And he's written all these books and he's like, would you like me to tell a story? And imagine you're sitting with Stephen King on LSD on the mountaintop and he says, would you like me to tell you a story?
Whoa.
That level of fucking writer.
Wow.
And he goes into one of his books and I was fucking sold, like just drawn right in. I could see everything, fucking alien worlds, all this shit that she's got to battle. And you really see like just the mind, like how creative the mind can be. It blew me the fuck away. Of course, the substances helped me draw me into it, but man, he's a special guy.
Well, there's quite a few special people out there, which is why we're so lucky we can go to the movies. You know what I mean? I mean, do you think of how much fucking creativity, how much thought and imagining scenarios and putting them all together that takes to make, like I saw The Incredibles 2 yesterday.
Is it dope?
Fucking incredible.
I love the first one.
I didn't even mean to say incredible because it's incredible. It's great.
We're considering taking Bear to that, but he's only 3, so we're not sure if he'll appreciate. I mean, he loves those movies at home, but you know, he talks and shit like that. So
But little kids talk at the movie theater. When you go to little kid movies, it's normal. It's
cool.
There's other little kids doing it too.
Yeah, we think we might do that for The Incredibles too. They're fucking so good. The Pixar movies are so good. Did you ever see The Good Dinosaur?
That doesn't. I got to be honest. That does annoy people though. If you go when a bunch of teenagers are there or like young adults and the baby starts talking, there should be like a day. Like there should be certain shows.
They do them
where
now.
You bring
First show of the
kids.
day, and the kids are allowed to talk. First show of the day, and a lot of theaters do that.
Oh, see, that's smart.
For the matinee.
That's smart. That's smart. But damn, that opens up the door if you tell them they're allowed to talk.
Yeah, that's true. I'd still try to keep it quiet. But dude, Good Dinosaur, Pixar movie.
Yeah.
And they fucking trip balls in the movie.
Oh yeah. What did
they
they
eat like some rotten fruit. And the fucking green dinosaur grows like 4 eyes. Then they switch heads and they're running through everywhere.
I forgot all
with each
about
other's
that.
skulls. He sticks his tongue out and he's got the kid's face for his tongue. It was awesome.
I forgot all about
They're
that.
trickling it in. The society's changing.
You think?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
sure.
Fuck yeah. It's the Renaissance. Michael Pollan said that, and he's not even an advocate. He knows it's changing.
He's kind of more of an advocate now, certainly than he was before he wrote that book, his most recent book on psychedelics. That changed his life.
I think it's a smart play if you're a person in his position to say, like, look, I'm just an advocate for the science, right? But as Rick Doblin says, you know, when this stuff becomes available to people, it's never going to be you go fill your fucking prescription of psilocybin at Walgreens and you can go fuck off anywhere you want, right? They'll have facility centers where people can go and it'll be guided, the right circumstances, set and setting will be paid attention to. But in that experience, like, it shouldn't just be for sick people. It shouldn't just be for people with depression or PTSD or some type of, rape victims or fill in the blank. It should be healthy individuals that also want to have a deeper connection and to figure shit out and have new perspective in life, right? And Pollan,
Yeah.
I would qualify as that.
Yeah,
I think he's a healthy guy. Heart shit aside, like he's a healthy guy who wanted to have an experience that would draw him in a little deeper so he could understand. And now when you listen to him talk about it, there's no doubt he's fucking sold on it.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is really important because I don't think there should be any restrictions on something that's super beneficial. If there's no real indications that it's hurting these people and it's all these indications that it's helping these people, especially when it comes to trauma. Look, man, there's certain people that for sure have experienced way more trauma than others. There's certain people that have, been to war. They've lost friends. They've been involved in car accidents. There's certain people that have been through things that are just horrific and almost impossible to forget. And that is a fact that they should have access to this medicine. But just because like some girl lived her life and didn't have anything traumatic happen to her, and she's trying to find her way in this world, and she's trying to figure out, what is insecurity, or what is my connection to these people, what are my real passions and drives in life. She says, I'm going to take some sort of a MDMA Molly trip and find out how I feel about things. So find out if it gives me anything. She should be able to do it too.
Yeah.
She should be able to experiment with her brain and see, like, hey, all these people are reporting super positive experiences. What am I supposed to ignore it because some bureaucrat has decided for whatever connection they have to some pharmaceutical companies that you fucking keep this gate tight on making anything legal. Anything you make legal is gonna fuck with my bottom line. And that's what a lot of people think. And so there's this weird sort of disconnect between the people that want the drugs and the people that won't let you have the drugs. Like, who are you working for? The people that won't let us have the drugs. And why do these other people that don't want the drugs think the drugs are bad? Do they have any pot experience themselves? No. Well, then you can't vote about pot, you fuck.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? You shouldn't be a doctor unless you go to med school. You shouldn't talk about driving a car if you've never driven a fucking car. You can't talk about pot if you don't do it. You don't know what you're talking about. So, you smoke pot, you got real high, you got paranoid, so everybody shouldn't smoke pot? Fuck off, pussy.
Yeah, that's Graham Hancock. You don't, when he's talking about Richard Dawkins, you don't have a seat at the fucking table to tell me what my ayahuasca experience is unless you've done it. You don't get a seat at the table. You don't get to tell me it's some neurochemical reaction and this is where it fits in the brain if you haven't had that experience. You can't tell me that's what's the one thing that's fucking odd at the very least when people go through these experiences, and Poland talks about this too, is how real it feels. It's how important it is and how much meaning they have, right? Nobody's going to fucking tell me that my ayahuasca experience didn't mean shit. I saw, in one of them, my wife and I shared the same vision of holding a child. And the next experience we saw it was a boy, and fucking all the fear of being a parent came up. And less than a month later, we were pregnant with Bear. Like, that's as real as it fucking gets. And it manifested after that, coincidence or not.
I have a real problem with the word real, too. When people try to say that's not real or that's a hallucination, it doesn't matter. It's the same experience. Like, by saying it's not real, so what are you saying? You're saying that I can't grab it and throw a fucking net over it and drag it away and then show it to you again? Yeah, well, then it's not real.
You can't be repeated in a double-blind study.
How can you say it's not real if it's happening?
Yeah, and you can't repeat that.
Isn't that a weird thing,
I
though?
could take ayahuasca the rest of my life, and I'm still not going to repeat the same vision and the same fucking experience again.
Yeah, anytime you think you got
different.
DMT figured out, your next trip is going to be a mind bender. Your next trip is, you get cocky going in there like, I've done this before. I'm just pretty relaxed about my DMT trips. I used to really freak out, but I don't anymore. Bitch, you better be scared. You better be scared. You're white knuckling it right now. You're going to go deep.
Gabor Mate said the same thing about Aya. He's done hundreds of ceremonies and he still gets nervous every fucking time he does it.
You should get nervous before you do anything that's important. It's a sign that you're getting ready for something crazy.
Well, and there's a healthy level of respect. I think most people run into the issue, they want to alter their consciousness, and they'll take a substance thinking like, this is going to make me feel a certain way. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they got to deal with some shit. They got to work through something, and that's not what they had on their radar, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. And then also this need to control the experience is always the thing that fucking sends everybody off the rails and into the woods. If they are having any kind of experience, this need to control that experience. Like, no, fuck this. I'm sitting down, and like, no, man, you got to let go. If you don't let go, you're gone.
And you got to surrender to it.
And if you don't, you're going to go through 15 minutes of Satan.
I was with my old man in Panama at the tribal gathering, and we were both doing a ayahuasca ceremony together. And we had the first cup, and it's strong. Like, Shipibo shaman came in, fucking amazing experience. And they offered the second cup, and I'm like, get up, dude, we're doing it. And he's like, whoa. I don't know. And I'm like, come on, let's go. So we take the second cup, we come lay back down. And to ballpark, there's been ceremonies where I've had 4 cups, and it was launch, This 2 cup, that's where we were, fucking launched. So we go back into the teepee, and noble silence. We're not talking to each other, and he just grabs my arm and he's like, I'm gonna leave. I'm floating out of here. I don't want to go. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude, let go. Go with it. Now's your opportunity. Let go. See where it takes you. And he's like, no, I'm not letting go. I want down right now. It's too much. I'm too high. And I'm like, well, high's not the right term. And this other guy from Switzerland heard us, and he goes, here, rub some peppermint on his wrist. It will help him. And he came over and we put peppermint oil, and that grounded him.
Wow.
But then after that, he's done ayahuasca since then, and he was like, fuck, that was my opportunity to fucking break through and go deeper than I've ever been before, but I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready to let go and surrender to it.
Wow.
And that's it, man. You want to have that mindset going in where if you face some shit, it's okay. And if you have the opportunity, especially in fucking DMT or ayahuasca, which is DMT based, like to have that ability, like, all right, the answer is yes.
It makes you wonder what the guys who created yoga were doing. I think those people that learned how to do those long holding poses, and that they were practicing it. There's a lot of belief that those people were eating a lot of hash. Like, especially the earliest people that created it, and they were soma, whatever the fuck soma was. You ever hear references to soma? I don't even think they know what that is. Some sort of a psychedelic. But that whole practice of yoga, if you really think about it, a lot of what yoga is, like, you have to just breathe and just concentrate on maintaining the pose. You have to put yourself into this like surrender zone. You know, you can't like fight a position. You just kind of accept it and just concentrate on breathing and hold it as long as you can until your body starts giving out, and then you let it go again. But I think that prepares you in some way to let go in psychedelic experiences. I think that people that don't have any, if you don't have any kind of physical altercation with your body, there's no like moment where you're like, come on, man, come on, breathe, 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 go, go, go. If you don't have any of those, if you never, I mean, I don't give a fuck what you're doing, whether it's a spin class or just, if you never have anything where you're pushing yourself when you don't want to do it, but you make yourself do it and then you did it. If you don't have those, like those moments where you overcame something that feels uncomfortable, then those bends in the trip road are scary dark, because you don't have any success in coming back from bad states. You don't have any success in coming back from like feeling really scared or feeling really nervous. Like those build up a database. If you don't have a lot of success in doing those, or especially success in getting your body to just fucking relax, it's just a broken leg. If you don't have that in you, like it's probably real hard to navigate some of the darker roads of a trip where you just have to just kind of just breathe and just try to stay as calm as you can. Let it embrace you as calm as you can.
Well, I think that it works both ways too. You know, like you have, if you put yourself in uncomfortable, stressful spots in everyday life, like a cold bath or the cryo, and you can stay calm in the fucking eye of the storm and come out of that extrapolates out in life. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're a little bit more chill. It's not that big of a deal. And same thing in the psychedelic experience. You go through some rough shit, you come out of that, okay, all right, I still have my body. I was able to work through that. Now it kind of lowers the noise on all the bullshit in life.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's something to what you just said about doing cryo too. Like cryo does make you chill out after, I mean, for lack of a better term, no pun intended. But everything's so elevated after you get out of there. You feel so good. That's a feeling that, like, if there was a way to do that in a spray, if you could buy that feel-good spray at 7-Eleven and give yourself a couple pumps, the same way you feel right after cryo, it would hit you. You'd be like, whoa. You just get this, ooh, you come out and all of a sudden your body feels warm again. You feel great. It's a nice little trick. It's a very nice little trick. And it helps so many people in so many different ways with arthritis and people who have constant inflammation and back problems and knee problems. There's such a good way to just give your body just a little extra reduction in inflammation. Just give yourself a little jolt. Feels good, man. People poo-poo it. I don't understand the poo-pooing of it. They're
looking at it now. They're studying Wim Hof at Stanford. They see 550% increase in dopamine.
Wow.
200 to 300% increase in adrenaline, which impacts the immune system positively.
And for how long of a Wim Hof experience?
They have different levels of cold. They're studying at 1 minute at 60 degrees, or 10 minutes at 60 degrees, 1 minute at 30 degrees, and then there's gonna be more science that comes out on different, because I want to know, like, how long at 40, how long in the cryo, how long, does it? But we know there's some type of neurochemical response from it that you feel, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just this. It's not placebo. It's not just your mind making this up, or, man, I feel really good, I think something's changed. Like, no, you are changing. It does have an impact.
Well, and also stop and think about all the people that we're always scared of. The fucking Vikings and the Russians. We're scared of people coming out of the snow,
and the
right?
White Walkers.
We're fucking scared. That's the same thing, probably. There's probably something in our head, someone who could survive the snow that we can't. Like, fuck, he's not even scared to be cold, I mean, that is who's the scariest people in this country are the toughest. Alaskans. This motherfucker, they have shows. They have like 10 shows. There's only 100 people in Alaska. They got 10 shows on people living in Alaska. I mean,
there's too many fucking shows.
There's so many of those shows. I know there's millions of people living in Alaska. Maybe not even, right? No, it's not even. Didn't we already go over this? Like Anchorage is like 400,000 people, I think. I might have made that up. Yeah. What's the number?
740,000 for the whole state.
Whoa. How many people does Anchorage have? 700. Wow, not even 1 million for the whole state. But there's like 18 shows on people living in Alaska. But they're hardy people. You look at them, you're like, damn, what would I do?
300 to 400,000. Yeah,
Yeah, so is about right.
half of them.
So that's like Anchorage is like a real spot, like a real city, sort of. I mean, real nice bars and restaurants and shit like that. But these shows about those people that live up there, those are all the people that live in like the Arctic Circle area, and they chop their own fucking firewood and fight wolves off and shit. Like, there's this one dude, we've talked about him several times in the podcast, that lives by himself. He's one of the weirdest of all. Like, he's the weirdest of all the weird people. Because all these other people live in like regular houses, and you know, they just live in a house that's connected to this river, and they take their dogs dog sledding, and they do all this shit. But they live in like a normal house. They go into a house. This motherfucker has like this tiny shack, and he lives right next to a lake, and he lives by himself, and he walks everywhere, and he somehow or another gets like pelts and shit, and makes enough money to buy bullets. And he lives out there by himself, and he'll come into town like once every couple of years. Apparently he used to be married, he used to have a family. Fascinating guy. I mean, this guy's not faking it. He's actually really living up there by himself in this room that's way smaller than the studio, and he lives by himself next to a lake. And he had to shoot wolves one night because they were coming for his fucking moose or his caribou. The whole thing's crazy. Like, it's by himself, nobody to talk to.
I think that might be a draw for people, especially if there is some merging of consciousness and integration with technology
nature
down the road. Like
Yeah.
to that kind of fuck this, I'm going off the beaten path. And you already see that people want to be off the grid, but to truly be like balls deep in nature, where you have to deal with wolves and bears and all the shit that's going on like that might be a bigger draw down the road. Right now, I'm not interested in that shit.
Well, I'm not interested in that shit either, but I'm interested in him being interested in it. Because I think that what you were just saying about technology, what I thought you were going to say is about nature. I think there's a deeper connection to nature if you're just living in it all the time.
Oh,
I bet
no doubt.
I
No
bet
doubt.
you get weird senses of like where things are, how the wind feels when it's coming at you. Oh, it's definitely coming this way. Like, you know where to stand, where not to. Like, you get a sense of the whole thing, and you're a part of it. You're not talking to anybody. So
Yeah.
the only dialogue you have is internal.
It's like your buddy who fasts when he hunts,
Yeah.
right? You get that extra sensory coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remy Warren always talked about that you should hunt hungry. That's some primal shit, dude.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
I found out, doing the fasting, I've done 2 5-day fasts now. The brain, it's not like, I have extra energy. Sleep kind of goes to shit, and Michael Walker talked a bit about that, but I can't sit and read. Like, I can't just focus in, like, all right, my brain's turned on, let me just bang out emails or fucking read a book. Like, it doesn't work that way. But I do start to problem solve in a way that's not possible and not common when I'm eating food all the time. It just works differently. Like, all this other shit turns on.
Wow. Now, when you were talking earlier about this kratom experience, how many times have you done kratom?
Well, I have a boatload of it. So, like, I don't know. I've lost track of how many times I've done it, but usually when I do it, it is at that 1 to 2 pill dose. I don't exceed that often.
You're a guy who, the reason why I ask is you're a guy who is always on top of all the latest and greatest in terms of like supplementation, the benefits of certain things. How do you know when to stick them in and like when to lay off other stuff? Because how do you, because you're not necessarily getting your blood tested all the time after you do some of these things, right?
No, I do blood work, fairly often, but that's just more for general health and wellness. It's not
Right.
to see how things are impacting me.
Right.
That's,
Do you like have a detailed analysis of like what you're taking in the days before blood work and compare it to times when you're not taking those things?
most of the thing that has the biggest impact on my blood work is if I'm in ketosis or not.
Really?
There's no fucking doubt. And that's also genetic, it's not the fucking right diet for everyone.
That's a pain in the ass to hear. Like,
Yeah.
well, what the fuck's the right one for me, man?
Well,
Come on.
that's like
Kyle.
Rob Wolf. You got to figure that out. Wired to Eat's a game changer.
It
It
is.
really is.
It's a very good book.
But you gotta do your fucking homework. You know what
Have
I'm
you
saying?
seen Rob actually puts it into action on his Instagram page? Rob Wolf and his wife will eat the exact same thing, and then he tests ketone levels and
blood sugar.
and blood sugar levels like at the same time stamp. And his and hers are radically different. Like, she's just better at
Eat the same
absorbing
food.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm similar to him genetically in that I I don't do well with a lot of carbohydrates and like a wide variety. I can eat a plate of yams and my blood sugar looks fine. But if I have a little bit of white rice, I'm fucking through the roof, like pre-diabetic.
Did you listen to the podcast that I did with Zach Bitter?
No.
He's the guy that holds the world record for running 100 miles in America. He ran 100 miles, like literally ran a 7-minute pace for 11 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, that's just the only thing that you could say. 11 hours and 40 minutes, I think, was the total. That is so fucking crazy that you can run 7-minute miles for 11 hours and 40 minutes. Just keep going.
Was he in ketosis or was he?
Most of the time he's in
Okay.
ketosis.
Yeah.
He eats a very meat-rich diet, and he is a fat burner. He's in ketosis all the time. He takes all kinds of, crazy... Well, he was talking about his diet. Like, one of the things that he eats more than anything was steak, right? That was like his big thing, like fatty piece of meat. And when he runs, though, when he's involved in a race or anything where there's extremely high requirements on his body, then he goes way above like ketosis levels of carbohydrates, like
Yeah, and
hundreds and hundreds of grams.
During the race, that's totally what you
Yeah.
should do. And
Yeah.
I ran that 50K after I was on your show last
Here it
couple years
says,
ago.
he says, what's even more surprising, though, is Bitter trains and competes on almost no carbs. At times, carbs account for as little as 5% of his diet. And Bitter insists that even we non-endurance record holders can do the same. Yeah, but remember he was talking about when he did the races, he takes some glucose supplements,
Just
right?
an article about his whole diet.
Yeah, I think he means most of the time. Most of the time when it's eating and training and exercising, he's burning almost no carbs.
Well, that's the goal, though.
Yeah.
That's metabolic flexibility. The goal is like if we're from out the gate, we eat carbohydrates every fucking meal until we're 40. We're not making ketones. Our body doesn't know how to use fat for
Right.
fuel. If we at least spend a period of time, and that's what I do now. I'll spend about 6 months a year in ketosis with maybe a couple carb days in a whole 6-month span. And then after that, I'll practice some carb backloading, or maybe I'll have, higher carbohydrate days, but I'm still eating higher fat, higher protein throughout that, or moderate protein throughout that. That creates flexibility. That's what we're designed to do. You
Yeah.
can argue all you want about what fucking Paleo Man ate and all that shit, but the truth is, before refrigeration and before shipping, we did not have access to carbohydrates. Most of the people on this planet didn't have access for at least 3 months out of the year, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's at least a period of time where we should take off and allow our body to reset and start to burn fat for fuel. And then when we go back to eating carbohydrates, we utilize it a little bit better.
Well, there's also people like the Inuit who didn't eat any vegetables at all.
Yeah, but I think even with them, 2 months out of the year, when they'd grow seasonally, they'd eat a little bit more carbohydrates and probably not be fully keto.
What do you think they would eat?
Year.
What do you think they would eat?
Whatever the fuck grows.
What could they grow?
I'm sure 2 months out of the year they can grow some shit.
Man, I don't even know. Aren't there spots where they can never grow anything all year round?
Possibly. I don't think it's going to hurt them. I disagree with people that think you should be one or the other year round. It's
Right.
like the same dumbass argument. You should only eat plants the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like to be keto the rest of your life, I think you're missing the point. The point is to have your body finely tuned and adaptable and able to eat all things.
Intermittent fasting is a good way to go about that. And when I do that regularly, when I get like 3 or 4 days in a row, there's a noticeable difference in like the need to eat, like
Yeah.
that feeling that
Inflammation
extreme-
goes down, cognitive function goes up, sleep's improved.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it for sure. Some people are going crazy with it and doing 20 and 4. I'm like, wow, that's but it's not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea.
I interviewed this guy, Todd White, who's the CEO of Dry Farm Wines. He does that every fucking day. Fast for 20 hours. He'll have a bottle or two of the Dry Farm with his dinner. And that's it. That's his fucking deal. And he's shredded. Like I met him at PaleoFX this year. And it was curious to me because everybody that's a part of that is, they're health oriented. They're kind of dialed in. At least they're on track. They work out. They eat.
You can't
clean.
be a fat guy at a paleo festival.
Yeah, they pay attention to what they're putting in their body and how they move, right?
Yeah.
But at every kiosk or every little booth, not everyone looks the part. At this guy's booth, everyone's fucking shredded. Everyone's got a giant smile on their face. I was like, "What's the fucking deal?" And he's like, "Well, 18 out of 20 of us are keto. Almost all of us do intermittent fasting. The They have group meditation not that that would help with fat loss, but I mean, just to say that they're dialed in. Group
Right.
meditation every fucking day at 9 a.m. Their entire company.
Wow.
Like he's a fucking legit guy
Damn.
Yeah.
Group meditation with the whole company.
with the entire company.
How many dudes are just thinking about dicks? angry that they have to do group meditation.
They
thinking
fucking
about
visualize
fat dicks.
they
What would my
visualize
dick
those
look
guys
like?
doing the dick exercises
Yeah.
nonstop with the weights.
They'd be like, what would my dick look like if it wasn't circumcised? What would it look like? Trying to picture it.
It'd probably add a half an inch, or you could just shoot stem cells into it like Greenfield to get the half inch.
Those guys who are doing those, like, is that a mandatory thing? Do you have to do it to work at the company? Do the group meditation?
I think it's a requirement. Yeah,
That would be annoying. That'd be annoying. If
I think it'd be good once you fucking got into it, though.
Maybe.
Even if you didn't learn.
Yeah, but maybe
I like fucking meditation. If somebody carved out, like working it on, it's fucking amazing because we're not only allowed to work out on the clock, but we're encouraged to.
That's
we're encouraged to use a sauna. We're encouraged. There's a fucking meditation room that I'll go hit and meditate for 30 minutes. Like I'm outside with my shirt off, barefoot, doing Tai Chi and weird shit,
Dude.
all the time. And that's okay, right? So that culture that's created there is awesome. There's nap pods at Google for a fucking reason, right?
Right.
So if you had that scheduled in to where you were going to meditate every fucking day on the clock and you knew like this is my time to rest and just get silent, I think over time you'd buy into that. Over time you'd learn how.
Or you would say, I'm a fucking accountant and I came to this building to work, not to have some fucking cult member asshole guru who is probably just trying to fuck everybody.
Bhagwan
That guy
Sri
tell
Rajneesh.
everybody when I can meditate. I'll meditate on my own time, motherfucker. I'm here to work.
He said-
I don't need that extra 10 minutes.
He told me most of the people in his company still have a meditation practice outside off the clock.
I would tell him that too if I wanted a raise.
You know, I meditate for 4 hours when I'm out of here.
Bro, I meditate about you and how amazing, an amazing leader you are. Just I'll be at my desk. Yeah, man. I think it's a great idea. I just think there's be some people that would. Well, I guess if you let them know before they took the job, hey man, the only thing we require is 10 minutes of meditation every day. You cool with that? Yeah, I'll take it.
But what if like I think people gravitate towards that. There's like-minded individuals at every fucking company unless
Yeah.
they're just I need money, and usually those people get weeded out of the equation, right?
Well, Onnit's a great example of that. When you go there, everybody's super positive, fit, very friendly environment. Like
Yeah.
there's no dicky.
they all fucking enjoy what they're doing
Yes.
too, and if they don't, they see themselves out.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's no company you're ever going to work at where 100% of the people are fucking dialed in and they're all on the same page and
No.
we're going to change the world. It doesn't work that way. But if you have a high percentage that are doing that, that's
Right.
why how you see big changes happen.
Yeah, when you get 100 employees, I mean, you're gonna have a little chaos.
A little bit.
You got a little. You're gonna have that. You're gonna have. Did you hear what Jen said to Mike in front of everybody? You're gonna have that. You're gonna have craziness. You're gonna have people that don't work together well, don't like each other because of pre-existing biases, because of who knows, whatever the fuck it is. They remind them of an ex. People are weird. Getting men and women to work together just to pull that off alone. Whew. You know?
Yeah, we got HR now on it. That's interesting.
What's that like?
I don't know. I don't have a comparison because it's my first real job.
Right.
Where I get to play an adult.
So you have a person who's hired to make sure that no shenanigans take place?
Well, just to create a pipeline for people to talk to one another, or a pipeline where you can handle things in an appropriate manner. So if someone takes offense to something,
Right.
and we all had to go through this fucking ridiculous and hilarious like 1990 video on harassment in the workforce, shit like that.
I had to watch
And,
those for a couple different TV shows. When they start a TV show off, it's one of the things they do in the beginning. Everybody has to go there. We all sat in the bleachers like we were there for a show taping, and they pull the screen down and they played us this video on harassment.
Weinstein didn't watch it.
I guess he didn't. There's no Weinstein character in that video, shockingly. Dun, dun, dun.
There it is.
Yeah, if you, I don't know if that works. I guess maybe it works in that
It's
people
a-
know they can't get away with stuff.
Well, no, it's a safe place for people to come talk, and it doesn't mean like
No, that's not what I mean. I mean those videos.
Oh, the videos
I mean,
don't do shit. They're
how
fucking,
could they work?
They're comical.
Who's gonna say, man, I was about to sexually harass this chick, but that fucking video's got me thinking. Nobody would say that.
I think people might bite their lip a little bit though
Do
if
you
they know
think
there
so?
can be repercussions. Like, you don't want.
Oh,
I don't want
yeah.
to fucking
Oh, no,
lose
for
my
sure.
job. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
definitely don't want to lose my. I wouldn't want to lose my job if it wasn't on it because
No.
I have a family. But I
course.
definitely don't want to lose this job because it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's an amazing thing to be a part of.
I don't think that it's. What am I trying to say here? There's no room for fun with people anymore, though.
That's the
Like,
fucking issue.
The problem is if you want to cut all sexual harassment, which we all do, you don't want to cut fun. But how do you, like especially like a guy who's saying something that he thinks is funny to a girl and it just really hurts her feelings and he was just trying to be funny. Like that's in her eyes sexual harassment. In his eyes it's a joke.
Well,
but
it's even weirder
Everybody's
than-
eyes is a disaster.
Yeah, and it goes into all things. Like I fuck with Aubrey's assistant a lot, Ian. He's a good buddy of mine, and I treat him like my little brother sometimes. So,
But
we had
it's a joke.
It is always a joke.
Yeah.
And so we had this team meeting on the jiu-jitsu mats, and he was sitting next to me. And the second we broke after the meeting, I just fucking got on a leg and started cranking. I'm like, "We're on the fucking mats, bitch. You're mine." And I'm digging my knee into his shin, like doing some, like dirty jiu-jitsu. And I forgot the leg I was on. He had just fucked up in soccer. So dude's like, he's on fucking crutches for a minute, And I would clown him a little bit about being on crutches, and here comes the gimp, and he's my boy. And then I realized after watching this video, I'm like, oh, that's just as illegal as sexual harassment. And so, I'd make a joke about that too. Like, Ian, nobody's allowed to make fun of you for being disabled. That's against the law, and you can go to HR for that. So if anybody does that, you can go say something. It's okay. And that was kind of our,
Inside joke.
He's my fucking boy, so I can
Right.
do that. But that's still illegal.
Yeah,
I don't know that I should be saying
if
that
you-
right now.
Well, see, the thing is, if you have good friends, you're good. Like it's what we were talking about earlier with like comedians. Good friends say fucked up shit to each other for fun, and it's fun for both of them because if you have a real friend, you love each other so much, you know that he doesn't really think terrible things about you, but he could say funny, ridiculous shit like that because it'll make both of you laugh because you know it's not the case. But if you thought in any way it was the case, that you really were like mocking him in any way, then it would never be funny.
Yeah.
But because you're never capable of that, it's very funny.
And I think the real issue comes down to people who are looking to be offended. Right?
There's
wanna
that, but there's
fucking
also
find
people
it.
that are terrible at telling jokes. There's people that are terrible at joking around with people and they make people uncomfortable.
But there's some people in the room that won't laugh at anything.
That's true,
They're just
too.
fucking looking for shit.
Right, and there's the question, right, if you have a company, like how the fuck do you decide who to hire and not to hire? Because you don't know these people in the beginning. Like sometimes people are one thing and then they get a little power and then they become something different. They just become a different thing. And then they get like ambitious or who knows, their life changes in some way and then they get aggressive. And then they're a different person. Like, hey, who are you that we hired 5 years ago? Now we have to figure out a fucking exit strategy to get you out of the company. Fuck. I've seen many friends go sideways on situations like that where they started doing business together and then the business takes off or doesn't take off or whatever. They're stuck together and then they're not the same person who they were 10 years ago when they started this fucking thing. So there's all this weirdness and resentment and,
Well, hopefully no one's the same person they were 10 years ago.
Right.
Hopefully you fucking grow and it's a positive thing.
Or
but that's not always the case.
could be you growing and them not, or them and you not. I mean, it's not uniform either. That's the other thing. It's like if you find like-minded people, the great thing about it is everyone's trying their best to be a good person, to take care of their body. They're trying their best. There's going to be some hills and valleys and ups and downs, but for the most part, the thought process is about trying to be your best, always, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're around those people, like everybody's going to be okay. But if you're around the people that are fucking super negative about stuff and always sabotaging their life and always fucking up things for friends around them and always ruining this and fucking up that, that can be exhausting. That can steal your DNA. That steals your fucking whatever it is that makes you a person. That feeling that you get when you're around someone who's just fucking up all the time, where you're like, it's exhausting.
That's kind of the deal too, where you just, if it is family or somebody you care about, just love them at a distance. You got to remove yourself from that.
Yeah, you can't get wrapped up. There's certain family members that they go crazy and you can't get wrapped up. They'll take you down. They'll take you down with them. You can't live two lives simultaneously. You do your best. If people want to go crazy, and that's always been my real fear and concern when someone that I know well does the drug thing, goes down the drug hole. Like you see like something like, what are you doing, man? Are you doing something? No, I'm not doing nothing. And you're like, oh no, we got a tweaker over here. We lost the homeboy. He's tweaking. He's not even himself anymore. Now he's going to lie to us about whether or not he's taking meth.
Yeah, I've seen shit like that in college. Lost a friend to heroin. Lost 2 friends to heroin. Gained 1 back. He got fucking clean. It's not fun.
That's the
Not
rough
fun
one,
to
huh?
witness. Yeah.
The people that are willing to stick a needle in their arm right into the vein. There's the romantic thing about it to some people that this is the ultimate fuck you to safety. You know, the fuck you to the standard norms the society is put on you when you stick that needle in you and just you untie the strap. Fucking crazy. What a crazy thing to do.
Ari Shafir had a good point on that, though. He was looking at, I forget when he was talking about it, but he said he saw a homeless man, and he realized the guy was on some fucked up drugs, and he was like, oh, I get it. You were just introduced to the wrong drugs. Because Ari does a lot of drugs, but he has drugs that help elevate him and lift him to a new spot and give him new perspective and hope and joy. And this other guy just got fucking sucked deep down the rabbit hole in the wrong direction.
Wow. Yeah, I think in some ways that's true, but in some ways they like the heroin better. You know, who was it that had that statement about heroin? There was a, I'm not going to remember it, but there was a fascinating statement about heroin killing you. That when it was killing you, I think it was Lenny Bruce talking about it, but that it was such a sweet death. I really forget the quote because heroin is something it freaks me out so much. I don't even like reading too much about it. I like read a few things here or there about people that are hooked on it. It creeps me out so much. It's almost like I'm reading about demonic possession, and in a way I think it is. In a way I think when people lose their entire life to some pills and they can't stop, and they lose their family, they lose their job, and they just can't stop, they keep taking it. How is that really any different in terms of the overall results and the effect it has on your loved ones and your friends and your family and yourself? How is that any different than just a really evil demon that talks you into staying home all day and makes you throw up and is just fucking with you all day and making you tired, just dragging you to the ground, making you fall asleep right in front of the sink? How is that if there was a demon doing that, you're like, oh my God, look at him. He's possessed by a demon. That would be horrible. If we just saw some kid who's just his body's all fucked up because there's a demon inside of him controlling it. But instead we're like, oh no, he's all fucked up because he shot up. He shot up. Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it grabs people. That's the
Yeah.
fucking problem, though, is that you look at that.
That's it. I'll die young, but it's like kissing God. That was his expression of it.
Damn.
Who died of a morphine overdose on August 3rd, 1966. Man. Oof. He's from in my line of work. That's the Lucy. You know, that primordial or whatever. How would you call it? Prehistoric humanoid, hominoid. What was Lucy? That was that.
I remember when they discovered Lucy.
Australopithecus or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah, that's what Lenny Bruce is in a lot of
Second you
ways.
said Lucy, I was thinking of LSD, but
Oh, I
no,
hear
I know
ya.
what you're talking about. LSD. Lucy was on the cover of Nat Geo, right?
Yeah, it was like one of the first, like, early human skeletons they had. I think there's some controversy attached to that thing too, which there always is to those ancient humans that they find. You know, you find a fucking human from how long ago was Lucy? How many? 2 million?
2.9.
2.9 million. Let me see a picture. That was us just 2.9 million years ago. What the fuck? That's crazy.
Would you fuck Lucy?
If I had to. For the good of the human race. If we need to make people.
Who was asking if they would fuck a Neanderthal? If that was...
Who wasn't?
Did you? The answer's yes. The answer's fucking yes. It happened. Humans
I
fucked
should
Neanderthals.
clarify
Like,
what I mean by Lenny Bruce is this is like he's the first. He's not like primitive. I mean, he was like super advanced, but he was the very first version of that. the very first version of a real stand-up comedian. Like that everybody, all lines come from Lenny Bruce. I mean, there's a bunch of his contemporaries that were really good too, and there's a bunch of people from that era that were just all innovative and interesting thinkers. And they all, I'm sure, fed off of each other. But Lenny Bruce is almost like Lucy. He's almost like the first he's like the first real stand-up comic. You know, like we say, like, okay, I get Mark Twain was doing it. I understand that all these different people had like a kind of, you know, comical way of talking in front of people, but there was something about the way he was analyzing and breaking down society on stage this was the first of those. So you watch that and you go, wow, that's almost like a scientific discovery. It's like, well, this is going to shift the culture this way because now people are going to be mocking things for entertainment. So the other side's going to get way more mocking. So you're going to have your serious side, but there's going to be a business in making fun of it now. There's a new thing now. This is a new thing. And that's what that guy was. It's kind of a trip when you really stop and think about how influential one person can be. You know? That one person with some crazy amount of talent, some weird way of looking at things, can shift like there
I'm
he is.
sitting across from one right now.
That's horseshit. This guy right here, man. He was doing things. Play some of this, man.
You're better off alone, man. That's it. I'm gonna get a whole bunch of new suits. You know, I've had the same dumb suit for 10 years. You walk in her closet, you can't even breathe. That's it. I'll get a whole bunch of suits. I'll get a chick that likes to hang out, man. I'll have the vodka parties. That's modern. Vodka parties, swing it up, ball it up. I'll get a chick who likes to drink. Boy, my wife sure used to look good standing up against the sink. She's the lowest, though. I really put her down. No, I really miss her. I don't want some sharp chick that can quote Kerouac and walk with poise. I just want to hear my old lady say, get up and fix the sink. It's still making noise. All alone? All alone?
It's the song he sings.
Like a near-sighted dog wears the bone. Ah, but it's better to be all alone. No more taking out the garbage, hear her yakking on the phone. I gave her everything, even my mother's ring. But to me, she was so petty. Sometimes I wish that she were dead. But it'd probably take her 2 hours to get ready.
What the fuck? This is probably like, I would have to guess like 1960. What year was that? Does it say? Wonder when that was. It's got to be somewhere in that neighborhood. But that guy, and big heroin problem, man. Big heroin problem. And he was also fighting against censorship. He was like one of the first people that was a public speaker that was challenging the ideas of censorship in court. He was getting arrested for doing his nightclub performances and saying certain words. You know, and he was talking about how ridiculous it is to put all the power into these words, including racist words. This is like, nobody was doing anything like this back then. It was crazy shit. And a lot of what he was doing, demeaning obscenity, yeah, a lot of what he was doing was, you know, he was a big believer in expanding his consciousness. He was getting fucked up a lot. He's obviously doing heroin because he died of it. He talked about it pretty openly. But who knows what else he was doing, too. I think marijuana was involved in there, too. He's expanding his mind in a strange time. I think it's impossible for us to really put ourselves in the mindset of people who lived in the 1950s and early 1960s. I don't even think we're capable of doing it.
No, we have like a VH1 depiction of that. Did you ever see the decades?
Yeah.
Where they went through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking rad.
Pretty fucking rad.
But that's still a Hollywood version of it.
100%.
You know? You have like, even when they get to the 80s, you know, like cocaine's resurgence and it's all fucking Madonna and Prince.
It's so silly.
Back to the Future and shit like that.
I don't think we can imagine what it would have been like growing up then. You know, living in his era. Like, people were so buttoned down to have some guy come along and go, why? Why are we doing it like this? You know, he was, that's a crazy thing. The stand-up comedy started in America. It really did. I mean, there was definitely jesters and, you know, King Arthur's days and all that bullshit. And from the beginning of time, people have had court jesters and there's always been funny people in the village that everybody gathered around, like a Joey Diaz type character that lives somewhere. But the art of stand-up comedy, like that was the first. And I think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Mark Twain. But if it's not Mark Twain, it's him. You know, that was the first one where people started wanting to be that, and then they kind of like there was a lot of that coming off of that. You know, like these little branches get taken off the main river in culture occasionally. You know, and I think a lot of that was what I was reading in the Malcolm Gladwell book that I was talking about earlier.
What's the name of
Tipping
that
Point?
again? Tipping Point.
It's all about different trends, like real specific stuff, like what caused this uptick in syphilis in one part of the country, and like what caused, like what are all these factors that fall in place that all work synergistically and push something over the top? How did Hush Puppies go from a business that was like almost bankrupt to being something that was like everywhere? And there's in 2 years they had stores open in every mall, and they were closed. I mean, they were open for decades without this kind of success. And something happened, and they became this hip thing to have Hush Puppies on. And then boom, the business just explodes out of nowhere. And these weird moments like that. Sometimes like an Elon Musk type character comes along and just, I want to fucking put people on Mars. I want to make an electric car. I want to shoot tunnels under the ground. Like one of these characters comes along, and then through them there's like this new river, and all this new crazy shit happens. That guy was probably the number one for stand-up comedy for that.
Fucking massive.
Yeah, pretty crazy shit, dude.
You ever see what was the name of it? Is it the Turing test? The
Turing test is whether or not you could tell if artificial intelligence is human.
Yeah, it's not the Turing test. It's the movie about the guy who invented the computer, Turing.
Oh.
With the British dude.
Oh wait, are you talking about Ex Machina or like the one about it, like the Imitation Game or something like that?
The Imitation Game. Yeah. It's fucking nuts to think, like if you watch that movie, and obviously, have you seen it?
No.
It's
The
fucking,
Imitation Game.
It's awesome. That guy's a great fucking actor too.
I'm writing this shit down right now.
It's Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's a savage. But they go
That
through
guy's-
that in that time period. He fucking invents the fucking computer, you know? And then they go through the time period, and he's gay in Britain, and they put him on medication that lowers his testosterone so he won't be gay, so he
Oh,
won't have
that's
sex with
hilarious.
men. It's fucking insane.
That's a
It's a
hilarious
great movie.
technique.
But if you think about like people who move the fucking needle, right? Like people that change,
Yeah.
shift, like if that's where it comes from, computers, and then we get to fucking hyper intelligent, super intelligent AI, it all started there.
That is crazy. Like there was a bunch of different factions, right? A bunch of different people that were working on computers because a woman created the very first computer code. Yeah, I forget what her name was. Well, there's two pivotal inventions by women in computer design, and then ultimately in the actual execution of it. Here it is. Ada Lovelace has been called the world's first computer programmer. What she did was write the world's first machine algorithm for an early computing machine that existed only on paper. Of course, someone had to be the first, but Lovelace was a woman, and this was in the 1840s.
Damn.
Suck it! Suck it, stupid people. Suck it. Ada was rocking shit in the 1800s. She was figuring it out. Imagine you'd be like, look, one day they're going to be able to do this, but right now they don't know how to do it. But if one day, if they just figure out how to do this is this, and this is that, and we're going to have computers, and the computers will operate on this algorithm, and people like looking at you like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? Computers, like, imagine what a hell it would be to be a super, super genius living amongst the cave people. You're like, you fucks, we could be flying around if you assholes knew how to melt aluminum. Can you guys get me some glass? You don't know glass? Shit! Do you have any wires? You have no wire. Okay. Where'd you get your metal? You don't have metal? What? Shit! Can you imagine if you like were looking at metal in the ground, like, why don't they just pull the metal out and make things out of that? And they're all like, hey. And you're like, what's the point? What's the point in making a house? What's the point? What's the point in having glass windows that look out at these cave people fucking each other and stabbing mastodons in the dick with flint-tipped tools? Fuck. Imagine what the hell that would be. That would be like the worst thing you could do to somebody. Like imagine if one day they come up with a time machine one of the punishments for people that were real pieces of shit is you would throw them in front of Genghis Khan's horde in like 1200 AD. You would just like take your underwear, you're in your underwear, everybody knows it's going to happen. You have a chance to live. If you just might get lucky, you might teleport into the right spot and not get slaughtered and eaten by the Mongols as they come over the top of the hill. But we're going to put you right in front of them. And, you know, good luck, you piece of shit. Fucking transport them in a time machine. I mean, if they do come up with the ability to do that to people one day, like an actual time machine, that would be the biggest hell ever. Take a person from 2018 who's used to driving around in his Tesla and checking his text every 5 minutes, and no, we're going to let you live. We're going to let you live, but you're going to live in 1200 AD. No doctors. There's no doctors. What the fuck is a doctor? What are you talking about, man? You got to run. You got to run. They're coming over the hill. Don't you smell that? Yeah, that's people burning. You smell people burning. They're like candles. Run! Just fucking run, but you're alive. That was the punishment.
Yeah, that'd be fucked
You know?
up.
That would be crazy. Imagine if somebody raped you and you get to decide what year they come back.
Where they have to go.
Yeah. Well, just send this motherfucker back to the dinosaur era. Good luck, you cunt. And then they're gonna be by themselves 65 million years ago. How many people would say yes to that? Like, how many people say yes? Well, we could do one thing. Bernie Madoff. We could either put you in jail for the rest of your life, or you get freedom in prehistoric Central Asia.
What would you do?
I'd take the death by prehistoric Central Asia all
Yeah,
day.
you gotta fucking live.
All day.
You gotta live.
Throw me in Siberia. If
see
I
what
die
it
there,
is.
I die there.
Yeah.
But at least I'm not in a fucking cage until my heart stops beating.
100%.
I'd take that all day.
I'll roll the dice.
I'll roll the dice. It'll suck. I'll die for sure. But I'll die running, or trying to get away, or
Yeah,
or
you die quickly.
I'll break a leg. I'm not going to die in that box. That's the craziest thing about. You just decide when someone has crossed some line that we're going to take you out of circulation. We're just going to cool you in this little cage. We're going to hope you get better when we let you out in 15 years. Like, what a stupid idea.
It's not working. That's how you know it's a stupid idea.
It's
It's not working for anyone.
You want to protect people from violent offenders. That's primary, right? Violent offenders, people who want to rob people or murder people or rape people or assault people. That is like the number one thing is we want everybody to be safe. I love Jamie. I don't want Jamie to have to worry when he walks down the street that this guy that they locked up 10 times is going to jump out of the bushes and take his knees out with a baseball bat for no fucking reason other than he's crazy, right? You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So we all agree. You got to lock up rapists and murderers and all that. But after that, after you get past that, it's like, What good does it do to get that guy that cheated on his taxes? Why do you put him in a cage for a year? Why don't you let him work and pay you back? Like, why is he in a cage for a year? That seems like you're punishing him. Like you're just trying to torture him and steal a year of his life. But he just owes you money. He doesn't owe you a year of his life. How much is a year of your life worth? It's worth fucking billions of dollars. A year of your life? Fuck you, man. You can't take a year of someone's life. That's crazy. But if you owe taxes, they go, I'd like a year of your life, sir.
Or if you're fucking selling plants.
Selling plants, or worse, you're one of those people that didn't send the envelope and you're trying to bring some of that 4,000 pounds of cocaine over.
What would be a good deterrent to stop someone
I don't
from
think
doing,
there's. I think education is the real deterrent. You have to catch them, and there has to be punishment. Like if you owe people money, there should be reparations. You should if you were involved in some sort of a banking scheme and you rip people off, you should have to pay those people back. Period. You should be responsible for that. After that, you're assuming that someone's capable of growing, and sometimes we don't like to do that. It's very convenient to assume that someone is in a static state and they're never going to grow. Oh, this old banker asshole, he's just a rich old cunt, and this is how he's going to die. Fuck him. There's that thing, but he's a human being. And even if he lived his life fucking people over on those, those weird mortgage situation loans that were going on, what were those things called? Those
the short stuff.
Adjustable arm.
Yeah, the adjustable mortgages that people got fucked on because they signed up for them and they were a really low rate, and then all of a sudden the rate jacked up through the roof, and they were just inevitably going to lose their house. And this was like something that people knew about it before. And even the people that organized that kind of shit, even knowing They can grow. It's a horrible thing they did. But to say that they're done, fuck them, lock them up forever. My grandma lost her house. It's terrible that your grandma lost her house, and whoever the fuck benefited from your grandma losing the house, they should all have to give that money back too. We should figure out how the fuck did they allow these banks to weasel people like that? You're not looking out for anybody's best interest when you do something like that. And obviously they didn't know the rates were going to get as high as they got, where people were in terrible situations, but they should have known something was coming.
You hit the point though that they should have fucking been paid back.
Yeah, they should have been paid back.
None of those fucking people got paid back. It doesn't matter how long you lock them up for. Like, nobody fucking got their house back.
Yeah.
Everyone got fucked over.
And even people that were involved in the organizations that were probably responsible in part for the recession, which fucked everything up, those people all got bonuses when there was bailouts. The whole thing is...
The bailout should have been for fucking everybody who lost their home.
For sure. It shouldn't... The bailout most certainly shouldn't have gone to... I know that they have to pay these people these bonuses because these bonuses are in their contract, but that's still crazy. It's still crazy, even if it's in the contract. I mean, the government's got to bail you guys out. You guys are a failed business. This bank's a failed business, and you're still going to try to claim that you guys did so well that you need a bonus? Like, this is great. And you're going to take that taxpayer money and apply it to your bonus. So all those poor people out there working $50,000 a year, you're going to just take a giant... What's a good one for one of those guys? What's a good one? What's a good bonus? What do you think is like the biggest bonus that one of those banker guys got during the bailout?
Like
if you had to guess.
300 million?
Is it that high?
That's a lot.
I don't think it's that high.
I got it.
30 million at least.
That's what the JP Morgan guy got last year.
30
What did
million?
you get? 30?
Last year, yeah.
Oh,
30
but
million
wait a
bonus.
minute. No, we're not in a recession, though. Like, they were getting it at the end of Bush's term, right? So that was 2009?
2008, he got 16 million.
Someone got 16 million.
Same guy.
So he got 16 million during the bailouts. Well,
In his worst year, he got 20 million.
baller. What do you think his house looks like? It's probably made out of cocaine. It's probably like an igloo.
Just walks by and licks the walls.
Here's the real question. You give the average person $25 million, they don't have to work again ever. You know, if this guy's making $20 million every year or more, probably with all these bonuses, right? Like when do you get out? Like, how much do you have to have in the bank before you go, you know what? I'm just going to fucking live frugally and never work again.
That guy does not need to live frugally.
He doesn't even.
Any of
but
that
I mean,
fucking money.
For most folks, like, what's the number that you'd have to get to where you're like, check, please?
Yeah, I don't know what whatever that driving force is, though, to attain that doesn't just magically go away. You know, it's not like you get to that point and you're like, all right, now I can retire. Like, what do you fucking do in retirement? Look at the people who continue to work. You have 1,000 things you love to do, right?
Yeah.
And you're good at them and you're obsessed with them. Other people don't have that. All they know is their job. All they know is to work, and they have a hard time integrating when they come out of that. You know, you have to have something that gives your life meaning and purpose.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard for people to take up new hobbies too, but really fun. That's the thing about learning stuff, getting good at stuff when you suck. There's a little, there's a period in the beginning where it's frustrating, but if you do like anything, no matter what it is, especially physical stuff, something about getting good at things, it's very rewarding, Not enough people go through that. Not enough people, I think, try new shit out. And I think there's also new pathways that get opened in your brain the more you try something new that you suck at. And when you start off from that beginner phase and try to, like, put it together. And I think the little journey of the beginner phase to getting good, I think we should try something new once a year. I really do. I mean, maybe more. But for me, it can't be more than once a year because I get too crazy about stuff. For me, once a year is like I might be able to squeeze something in once a year and try it out for a little while and not let it overcome all the things I'm already crazy about.
How often do you go hunting?
Well, it's usually in the fall for elk, and then usually we do something in the early spring. We go to Lanai and we hunt for axis deer. That's like that gets you ready for bow hunting because they're really difficult to hunt. They're really fast.
I just found out that axis is 24/7 in Texas.
24/7.
Yeah.
You can hunt them all day long. But they have a real problem in the fact that they, especially in Lanai, they have no predators. There's nothing. At least in Texas, they have mountain lions and I mean, maybe coyotes are a situation for fawns. I would imagine coyotes get some fawns, but they don't really have many bear to speak of. Texas, although I think Texas is seeing a resurgence in black bear population. They're starting to see sightings of black bear. Check to see if that's true. That would kill off some. They kill off a shitload of deer, little bear or little calves and fawns, deer fawns, and cow elk calves. When a cow elk rather gives a calf, bears get those fuckers all the time. They get like half of them. Half of the fawns born.
Damn.
Yeah, they smell it a mile away. They have like insane sense of smell. They can tune into like when people shoot guns and kill an animal. They think it's like a dinner bell. Like there's a real issue with that in like certain places where people hunt where there's bears. Once you shoot something, they go, oh, I'm going that way. I'm just going to take whatever the fuck they shot, and that'll be mine now. And they can smell the guts. As soon as you start cleaning a deer, they smell it like way the fuck away from you.
Might be going home with a bear and an axis deer.
Yeah, I don't know if black bear spotted in another Texoma town. Yeah.
There's a picture of it.
There it is. That's fucking black bear. Imagine if you didn't know that bears existed there and you were out in the woods at night and you saw that thing. You'd be like, it's a fucking werewolf. Ah! You know? They have video of it up there?
I think it's just the picture on the trail cam or wherever that is.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so now they know. Yep, that's definitely a bear. Yeah, they travel. Fascinating animals, man. I mean, if they weren't real, you know, what an interesting thing that would be in fiction, especially like grizzlies, Kodiak bears. You know, I mean, if they didn't exist, what a crazy creation that would be in a movie. And just seeing a bear, you're like, what in the fuck is that thing? You know, it's a Star Wars animal.
Well, just being up close to one, totally different ball game.
Have you ever seen one in the wild?
No, I went to the Kenai River in Alaska for salmon fishing on a bachelor party. And in one of the tiny airports there, before we got in, they had a full size on its fucking hind legs. And I was like, good fucking God. I had no idea. No idea how big it was. Same with moose, though. Like, I had no idea.
What's the matter, Jamie?
This happened here.
Woman says she stabbed bear during attack in California park. Yeah, they have black bear in
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Pacific Coast Trail in Los Angeles.
What?
Yeah. Watch your shit, Joe Rogan.
What? Holy
out.
shit. A popular park in California is back open Friday after a woman says she was attacked by a bear and had to stab it in order to escape. Los Angeles County Sheriff's officials say the attack was reported at about noon Thursday on the Pacific Coast Trail in Los Angeles, area of Vasquez Rocks Park.
See where that is.
Where's Vasquez Rocks?
I'm about to find out.
Holy shit, dude. Look at this. She was hiking on the trail and she turned around after seeing what appeared to be bear droppings. A short time later, she heard something behind her head and turned to see a small black bear approaching her at a fast pace. She pulled a knife from her backpack and stabbed the bear in the left shoulder, which made it stop and run away, authorities say. The hiker was scratched on her wrist, but she refused medical treatment. Holy shit, this bitch is gangster. Mm-hmm. She stabbed a bear, and she's the first in LA to stab a bear. That girl's ready, though. Respect, right? I mean, she pulled that fucking knife out, stabbed that bear, and the bear scratched her, and she's like, I'm good. I don't need to go to a fucking pussy-ass doctor. I just stabbed a bear, motherfucker. Where is it? Is it off the 10?
Yeah,
What is that?
Near Palmdale.
Oh, interesting. That's not Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's like north of here.
Okay. Near Palmdale.
In between.
Palmdale is way out there, man. Where's Palmdale? Okay, it's halfway between here and Palmdale. Go back out again a little bit. Where's some of the streets of the cities, rather?
Angeles Forest. It's right in between. Here.
Oh, okay.
It's like Burbank
so
right
it's
here.
near where the 2 is, right?
Yeah, just north of Burbank.
Oh, okay. Is that the 2?
This is the 14. It's them, but this is the 5, and then this is the.
Okay.
That
That
is.
Angeles Crest Highway is gorgeous up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Jay Leno does all of his stuff when he takes cars up there and like does that Jay Leno's garage shit and drives up there. Fucking beautiful up there. God, it's crazy. So that's where the bear was. That makes sense. There's bears up there. There's bears in Santa Barbara, believe it or not.
I believe it. It's
Yeah.
mountainous, right?
Yeah, people find bears out there.
You spent time in there.
Santa Barbara?
Yeah.
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 I love it out there. It's gorgeous. You know, it's real unfortunate what happened in this last mudslide. You know about that? A lot of people died in a mudslide.
I heard
in their
about
houses.
that. My old man, I think it was last year, he lives in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and he was fucking trapped, like not in his home, but in his small town for 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Because the road that leads to the 17, how you get from Santa Cruz to San Jose,
Yeah.
completely shut down. Tons of mudslides.
That's right. And the PCH was shut down for a long stretch, right? Mm-hmm. I think it still is. I think it's still down. I think the stretch of highway that'll take you from like San Luis Obispo all the way up to San Francisco. That's the PCH, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a spot like well on the way to Big Sur. There's a spot where I don't think you can get through it anymore. I think it's still fucked up. See if that thing is still closed. But it was a giant stretch that got wiped out. Like they had these photos of before and after. It's like, imagine seeing that go down. Imagine being in your little fucking MG convertible, zipping along, looking at the ocean. Boy, life is grand. And you see this fucking mountain coming down. Just, you know, this is it. This is it. This is how it's going to go.
And it's back open now.
Oh, they opened
In
it. Beautiful.
January.
How long did it take to reopen it?
I don't know. It's been open for earlier this year.
Ah, nice. Well, that's good. Oh, how did they
8
ever?
months.
Did they say how they figured it out? Because there was some questions as to whether or not they were going to dig it out, or whether they're going to put a new road over the top of the dirt that's there now.
Road tripping hipsters.
Was that what it says? Where does it say that?
Road tripping hipsters,
Oh, that's
vacationing
vacationing
families.
That's what a weird thing to say. Residents survived by creating hiking trails that enabled people to bypass the highway closures by foot. And those courageous enough to drive could take on the Nacimiento-Ferguson Road with its hairpin turns and steep drops. Yikes. It crosses the Santa Lucia Range and connects the Big Sur coast with Route 101 further inland. Given the challenges, several tourism businesses simply closed up shop for the summer. Wow. Imagine having to hike for food and shit, and you realize, like, oh my God, we live on Big Sur. Like, we're trapped. What were we thinking? What the fuck were we thinking? That the earth wasn't going to move?
You wouldn't have a knife on you, or
What would you do?
you wouldn't have shit.
You wouldn't have shit. You'd be out there with your Birkenstocks on, talking about your next ayahuasca session. Next thing you know, you see that mountain coming down on you. Yikes!
Looking through your fanny pack,
Yeah.
saying like, "Where's all the functional shit in my utility belt right now?"
I don't even have a key. Like, at least you can have an old school key. You can kind of cut things a little bit with a key. Most people don't even have a fucking key anymore.
Keyless entry
Yeah, you have
cars.
fobs. You have a fob. You have a key for your house, and you get a fob for everything else. Fucking fobs. How long before we wear those things? I have one in my wallet. I have a Lexus, and it's a card. My key is a card.
Card entry. You just
Yeah.
keep it in the wallet.
Keep it in the wallet. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So you always have your wallet. You always have your card.
That's better, because even with all the keyless entry shit now, like, it's still got a spot for it in my fanny pack. It's still taking up way more space than it needs to.
Yeah, way more, right?
Phone is close to being one. You just didn't have to have that screen with
Right.
you all the time.
Imagine if you could program your phone, though, to open up your car, and then someone steals your phone, then they steal your car.
I can. I mean, you can with
Jesus.
the BMW app.
Or you'd have to open. You
can unlock.
You can unlock your
I can unlock
car?
my car. I can make it beep from here. I can turn the air conditioning on and like ventilate it.
That's savage.
Dude, I didn't even know that was
And
possible.
it tells you where you parked.
Look
if
at
you need
you.
to.
God damn. I didn't even know they could do that yet.
Turn that shit on.
Kyle Kingsbury, we're living in the goddamn future.
We are.
We are.
There's no doubt. You guys are setting up the fucking little AI machine out there right now.
Oh, that's not AI. That's virtual reality.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. That's a Vive. Dude.
Yeah, but it's soon enough you're going to interact with shit that's going to be, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to change the world.
I think someone needs to set up like a Muay Thai game on that Vive. Like they have a boxing game. Someone needs to set something up with kicks, you know, and have someone who kicks at you, you know.
That'd
You'd
be
have to
weird
alter your
though for
technique a
follow
little
through.
bit.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
your
for
follow through on
follow-through.
the kicks and all
Yeah.
that shit. Like it teaches people to point spar.
It does, but it wouldn't be your if it wasn't your only training. If it was your only training, you know, like a lot of Thai guys go light anyway when they spar. When they spar Thai style, they're playing with each other. You can kind of do that with this and just do it fast. And then as long as you did like pad work and real sparring on top of it, I bet it would add something. Just makes sense. I mean, you'd constantly be reacting, but there would be no consequences, right? Like you're not even feeling, but you would constantly be reacting to movement, and you would get it to react to you, but there would be no consequences. So you could do it all the time, not worry about like hurting yourself. And you also wouldn't worry about like getting hit, so you'd be a little freer with your motions. I think if they
would have to be another human playing you though, because if it's just fucking some computer, I mean, they got to write in an algorithm on how often the feint works, how often it doesn't. Like, if it wasn't scared, it wouldn't give a shit. It would just block everything and destroy you.
Well, it knows where your body is, right?
Perfect distance.
So it has to have some sort of you would have a haptic fucking jumpsuit on. You'd have a haptic like wetsuit. Like all the way to the top. And so if you get hit with like an inside leg kick, you'd hear the slap. You'd feel that slap on the inside of your thigh. Like, woo. You know? It's not perfect. But I think that there would be something real beneficial about that. Just constantly moving and constantly reacting to this thing in front of you. You would just put in a lot of reps that way.
Gauging distance.
Yeah. A lot of reps. But it would be interesting to know, like, would it know when you really hit it with stuff? Like if you're not hitting anything, what about like when are you getting jammed? You know, when are you hitting it and when are you too close?
Yeah, like the power meter.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you landed the kick. It's not all kicks are the same.
Right.
Does it count the same just because you make contact?
Yeah, if you go to throw a front kick and someone's here and you get your knee up high and then you push into it, that's a big difference between the guy being here and you're just like kind of falling backwards. Like, does it know?
Pushes you back versus pushes him back.
That's huge with sparring. Having a good sense of distance. I wonder how it knows that, like exactly where your foot lands.
I think some of the coolest shit that I've seen with that is like the artwork you can do in those worlds.
Older game. It's not exactly. This is crude of what you guys are talking about. It's called Drunken Fist Fight.
Oh, the guy's gonna grab a pool stick and crack that guy.
It froze there. Yes.
Oh, whoa.
So they're sort of reacting to him, but like right now the VR thing's only tracking the sensors. So you'd have to have a haptic suit that has sensors in it, and I don't think they're quite that far yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
There'd be a lot of sensors, and right now that thing's only tracking the headset and the two things you put on your hands.
Yeah.
And you can add more of those to like maybe put it on your foot or something like that. But it's not. It's like just tracking it in space, so it's not tracking impact or speed or maybe a little bit of speed, I suppose.
Yeah, this is super crude.
Give it 10 years.
Yeah.
But you need lots of sensors. I don't even know what you would need to track an impact.
Oh, so you're in a bar and you're supposed to be fighting these guys in a bar.
Yeah. This is just super simple, but like these are just programmed, like AI bots that are just like watching a swipe of a hand near its face, and they've just programmed that little like movement is all. So I don't know. I would say long time away, but maybe not.
I think the real move one day is AI robots that know jujitsu and go at like 50% speed.
That would have to be the case. You've been watching Westworld?
No, I watched the first episode of the new season, and I haven't. I've been on a Kimmy Schmidt kick.
What's that?
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It's a hilarious show on Netflix about a chick who was stuck in a bomb shelter with a religious cult for 15 years. She comes out, she doesn't know shit about the world. It's really funny, man. It's a Tina Fey's show.
Oh, okay. It's not
it's a Netflix
fictional.
show. Yeah. It's a comedy. Okay. So I take little breaks. I go Vikings, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
I never got into Vikings.
Damn, it's good.
I heard
dude.
it's
you
good.
Give it a few episodes.
Never got in.
That shit heats up around episode 4. It's a good goddamn show.
Yeah, season 2 of Westworld heats up around episode 4.
Yeah, I watched
time.
the first episode and I've just been busy.
It's damn good. I like that. It just anything that gets me to think about consciousness, what that is, what it can be, and then where our future's at. I don't want to. I wish you had seen it. I wanted to fucking dive.
Who's
into
the
that.
woman who plays the main character? What is her name?
I forget.
The actual actor, something Wood.
Madeline.
She's a beast.
Something
that girl's.
Wood or Woods.
She's so good.
She's a great actress.
She's so good.
She was married to what's his name, right? The goth dude.
Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
Rachel Wood.
Evan Rachel Wood.
Evan Rachel Wood. Woods with an S.
A Wood.
Wood. Evan Rachel Wood. She does an amazing job of getting you convinced that she's both a person and a robot. It's really creepy. Like she just nails it. Like there's other people on the show that are great. There's a lot of great people on the show, but for whatever reason, her combination and that the lady with the British accent.
Maeve.
Is that her
Yeah.
name? Maeve? She's a beast. Yeah, her. Phenomenal. Same thing. Like, there's a scene with her. I don't want to, spoiler alert, her talking to another one of these robots about her daughter. And you're like, Jesus Christ, this is so fascinating because the writing is so goddamn good and then the acting is so goddamn good that it has this weird effect where you know they're kind of fucked up for people, but they're not really people. But they seem very people-like there's just a perfect amount of off. The perfect amount of like, what in the fuck are you?
Well, you get to see him learn too.
Yeah.
And figure out
Dude,
what
it's a
it
great
means to
show.
be conscious.
Anything Anthony Hopkins is in, I'm down.
I'm down too. Have you finished Wild Wild Country?
No. I went episode 1 and I was like, I don't even know if I could do this.
Oh, you have
I'm
to.
going back. I'm going
Fuck.
back. Don't worry. I'm going back. I just need a little break.
Oh, man.
I got real life shit to do, man. I'll get back to it, I promise. I just there's something about cults, and there's something about like seeing people just hook, line, and sinker, roll out the red carpet. Here he comes. That stuff freaks me out. I think because I've seen it. I've seen it with martial arts, especially. I've seen it with a lot of the old school martial arts schools were very culty, very culty. You know, I don't know if you follow McDojo Life on Instagram. Oh, dude. I'm just going to give you a treat here. McDojo Life is an awesome collection of the fakest martial arts you've ever seen in your life. And something about these videos is so goddamn compelling because these people who are the students, they know the shit does not really work, but they pretend that it works because they're in a cult, you know? And this guy's like teaching people, like if someone comes to grab him, like to try to take him down like some wrestler. Check it out. He's going to put his hand here. Give me some volume on this, Jamie.
Okay. Small intestine or yeah?
Small intestine. He's going to get it right from the neck.
And take the bladder point
The bladder point.
right along the center of the scapula.
Just making shit up.
Right here.
Dude's just making shit up.
Okay. So
Look at
we'll
Homeboy's
show it
mustache
once
behind him.
without it. He'll come in.
He comes in, he touches
grab
him,
Here,
hits him
and
here.
strike here.
That's all you need to do, bro. Cain Velasquez shoots that power double. Just put that left hand. Look at that. He just KO'd him. He KO'd him, bro. Get him up. This is important. He
Smacks the shit out of him.
Smacks. And this guy really believes this. That's an anti-Gracie move, he says. Bitch, try that. Try that on Henzo, you fucking dummy. There's so many of these, but this guy has like an awesome collection of them. Look at this. The guy gets out and throws everybody to the ground. Hiya! I am a master.
They gone.
Just look at this, man. They're all grabbing him, and he's like, "But I have superpowers, and you don't." They might as well be 5. They might as well be 5-year-olds on a playground, and one of them pretends he's Doctor Strange. You grab me, I'm gonna send you back to Mordor.
Watch the first guy just goes straight for it, didn't even move for him.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but this is what I'm saying. These are cults. There's something about this shit that freaks me the fuck out. And my martial arts school that I started out in, Taekwondo school, was very strict. There's a lot of discipline. It wasn't really culty, but it was they're all a little culty. They're all a little culty. When there's master and mister and all that stuff, there's always a little bit of that. But we would go to tournaments and then we would see it full on, just full on cults. Like one guy would be the kung fu master and he'd have all his students, they'd all be at his command and he'd be telling them what to do. They'd be like, "Yes, sensei." They'd scream it out and shit, just like Karate Kid. There's a lot of them, man. There's hundreds of these weird little schools that were run by people that were running their own little cults.
But at least at the tournaments, like you guys are getting to actually fucking compete, right?
Yeah.
So the kids, even though they're like dogs, they're well trained. You know, they always listen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They still get to get on the mat and they experience loss. They experience some form of fucking real worldness, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like the shit on McDojo.
Yeah. No, but it's what's stunning about McDojo Life is how many of them there are. I mean, they're making videos. This is the thing. These people like scroll and show how many videos this guy's got up. I mean, I don't even know how many. There's probably hundreds. But the thing is, this is just what's on video, man.
I don't understand how
Look at all
the
these-
people that come to these places they don't ask for competition. They don't ask to see somebody.
They don't
compete.
know
Like,
any better,
Do they
man.
always? But is it always like, if I did this
forget-
to a man, he'd die? You
Look
know,
at
like
this one.
is that what everyone believes?
Look at this one. This guy, when a guy has a knife to his neck, he's going to smush the guy's hand with his chin. Watch this. He's going to make the guy tap. Check this out. The guy's got a knife right to his neck, and he's like, but what you need to do, try it on me. As soon as he gets that knife near me, not the same spot, bitch. That's not the same spot. Right? Watch this. He's like, okay, I give up, but I will take my hand, and then my chin will make your hand hurt like this. Watch this guy. This is dumb as shit. Hurry up and get to it. Here he goes. Look, he's making him tap. He's grabbing his own hand. See how he grabs his own head? Oh. Look at that. Look at that arm bar. Ferocious. At no point in time would that guy have been able to stab the fuck out of him with that giant knife in his hand. That's just
still
one.
looks a little bit
How
more
about-
believable than the other ones.
Go to the one right next to it where the guy's on his knees. There. That one right there. Watch this one. This one's so fucking stupid. I mean, he can't.
You can't. Reach me with that hand. Reach me with that hand. Reach me with that hand. You cannot.
You cannot.
You can't. Reach me with that
Watch
hand.
this.
Reach me with that hand. Reach me with that hand. You cannot.
The zoom in on dude's face. The fucking handlebar mustache is like straight Ben Stiller.
But this is why I think I get freaked out by cults, is that when I was a young teenager and I started doing martial arts, I saw like certain elements of that. I went to Catholic school for just 1 year when I was young, when I was 7, first grade, actually 6, right? And it was fucking horrible. And I remember thinking like that I can't believe all these people are just doing this. Like all these people are following along. Like, it was like so awful. Okay, enough with I don't want to see any more of these. I can't. They're so stupid. They're all so stupid. He's got hundreds of them, man. But I recognized that like when I was young, I was like, this doesn't make sense. This is just, everybody's just going along with this. This is normal to leave your kids with this mean ass nun and all these fucking people everybody's like, stay in order. Everyone's nasty to you and they're hitting kids. Like, woof. It was awful. And I remember thinking, man, there's something that happens to people when they get big groups of them together and they agree on irrational shit. There's some weird thing that happens to people where everybody, this can't be right. That lady is not acting in the name of God. There's no fucking way. She's a crazy, mean old lady, and I got to listen to her because she works for God? Like, this is fucking nuts. Can I talk to God? Does he know how she acts?
No, you got to talk through me.
Yeah, got to talk through her.
I got
She's
the
a representative
phone,
of God.
I got the phone line.
Yeah, your fucking parents take you there and drop you off and leave you with these monsters all day. And you're like, what? And some of them got fucked, right? Some of them got molested. Not just some of them, quite a few. So I think I had a healthy respect for that and fear of that when I was real young. And then I saw some of the same elements when I started doing martial arts, particularly with like some of the more ridiculous, like really rigid traditional type styles, a lot of kung fu. There was a lot of like, for every 100 martial arts schools, you had 3 or 4 that were just flat out cults. I just made those numbers up out of thin air.
Who was
No
like
idea
the
if that's accurate.
1%? Who was the guy? I think it was in China that fucked up one of these fake grandmasters,
Oh,
and then he had to
yeah.
go into hiding.
Yeah.
Who was that guy?
There was 2 of them. One of them happened recently. That was the guy with yellow sneakers on, right? He was an MMA guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he fucked this guy up.
It took all of 2 strikes to fucking dismantle that old fart.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fair. You're dealing with someone who's delusional, but it is fair because we all need to see that. Because there's some people that really did believe that guy had magic powers because they run a cult. Like these people that are doing all this death touch shit, when they see their students like, and they fall down, they believe that they're getting jolted in some weird, maybe not 100%, but there's a small percentage of their brain that's willing to not just go along with it, but to believe this guy's something special. That guy with the yellow sneakers didn't give a fuck about that. He just beat the shit out of that dude. And for everybody else but that dude, that's good. For that guy to find out that he's not really some possessor of magic powers. I mean, if he really did believe it, here it is. Oh, red sneakers.
A different one, maybe.
No, this is it.
Same one.
This is it. He just beats the shit out of this dude. I mean, real quick. He just storms them. Boom, hits him with the right hand. Boom, another right hand, and just gets him on the ground and beats the fuck out of him. I mean, this is like maybe 6 or 7 seconds before they stop it. He's out cold.
I have those mats in my house.
Puzzle mats?
Yeah, they're in the
They're
living
dope.
room. The
I got 'em in
exact
my
color.
gym.
I check them like that too.
Oh, you're an animal. You keep 'em in the living room?
That way
That's
we can just fucking do
hardcore.
yoga. We can roll.
That's hardcore.
I'll wrestle with my son there.
You'd freak people out if they came into your house, if they're new in the neighborhood. So,
Hey, fucking hang out
Come
with
on
me for
over,
a minute
man.
in the living room.
come on over and have some cacao.
Step into
You're
my
like,
gorge.
Cacao. Yeah, it's like a mild dose of MDMA. Hey, look at my living room. It's fucking wrestling mats. Nothing creepy about that.
That's the move. You're supposed
This
to
big
fucking
giant dude, this big jack giant dude is drinking cacao with his fucking 5-finger toe shoes on. Yeah, welcome to the neighborhood. That's the neighbor.
Yeah, come on in. Let's
Come
get
on
on
in.
the mat.
Yeah, he really loves yoga. Isn't it funny? Like, that sounds like a great thing if you were single, you know? Like, if you're just a bunch of guys living together. I've heard 100 stories. Yeah, we have our living room matted up, and we just drill. I know a lot of guys who got really good because of that. Like jiu-jitsu guys that wound up being roommates with other jiu-jitsu guys. And so instead of just going to class every day and rolling, they would take like 1 or 2 days a week, and they would do like a straight hour of nothing but drills. And like, dude, you'd be amazed at how much better you get just from doing that.
That makes
They don't-
sense.
Those guys don't give a fuck about.
That's kind of what I
pads
do
in
with
the living
yoga,
room.
though.
Yeah.
You know, I just get on the mat. Like I don't have the time now to go to a full yoga class, so I'll just hit it then.
I hear
I'm
you.
there. I'll drop down. My wife's yoga certified now, so she'll put me through some shit, and we can just do it.
That's very nice. That's
Yeah.
very nice to have. Do you ever do it outside in the grass?
Yoga or rolling?
Yoga. No,
Yeah,
not
I've done
rolling.
yoga outside in the grass.
I
It's
like
nice to be
that.
outdoors.
I think it is too.
You can do
I
yoga
like it.
anywhere. You know,
For sure.
I was doing it on the Cathedral Rock, on the LSD and the cacao.
That's a double dose, son. Is that candy flipping or what? How's that work?
think
Because
that-
it's kind of candy.
it's
with
kinda
cacao.
candy flip, yeah.
Whoa, is that where candy flipping came from? Chocolate
I
mixed
don't
with
think
LSD.
so. I don't think cacao's been around a little longer than LSD.
Right,
But the
candy
original
flipping,
candy flip must have been MDMA with LSD.
probably. But maybe it was candy. Maybe it was cacao. It's fucking chocolate.
A little LSD laced chocolate.
What else should we keep an eye on?
As far as
As
interesting
far as
substances.
interesting substances that you didn't know can make you trip balls. Like now that we know it's cacao, I get a cacao shake at this fucking juice
You're
place I
not
go
going
to.
to see shit on cacao. I'm saying it has similar properties.
Dude,
you're
I'm
not
gonna
going
meet
to
the
see
aliens.
You're not going to see a damn thing. It's
I'm gonna
not
eat
a
a
fucking
triple dose. Whatever you took, I'll take 3 times as much. We'll see what happens.
That was an issue though. The issue is there's a lot of magnesium in cacao, and I
Oh.
had fasted for 4 days. So at 3:00, I was like, "We need to go now!"
Wow.
And I fucking sprinted down the mountain for the shitter,
Whoa.
straight liquid.
There you go. Another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Well, you know what though? I was able to keep that tight. I was pinching the butthole like that lady with the vaginal clip going.
It's a real accomplishment when you could do it.
I was a hard Kegel down Cathedral
I almost
Rock.
shit myself a few months back, headed to the Improv. I was real scared. I got over the top of Laurel Canyon and I was going down Fairfax. I was like, I might not make it. Like I might not make this.
You
one.
start sweating.
Yeah, I was sweating hard. Did not feel good. Felt very nervous.
Yeah,
Very
that's all
nervous.
bad.
Yep.
I don't know what else is out there. You know, I know we're combining some really cool shit. I mean, getting to work on the podcast is fucking amazing, and thank you both for encouraging me to start one.
I'm glad you did, man.
Yeah.
You're so good at it. It's like such a natural thing to you. It's hard to believe that somebody had to prod you. Like, how do you not look at what? I mean, you're constantly able to recite interesting information about science or medicine or physiology. You always have this stuff at your fingertips. Like, why wouldn't you do a podcast? Doesn't even make sense.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
But
But
yeah,
it's
I
like
got-
being like really good at playing guitar, and someone says like, "Man, you should probably be in a band or something." You're like, "Fuck that."
like I don't know. It sounds
Yeah, it just
hard.
doesn't seem like
Sounds
something
difficult.
I'm into. Not really into music.
Yeah. I hate music. So yeah, we got the podcast, and that's a big child of mine at Onnit. And then
Nice.
product development would probably be the other big piece of that.
Let me in on this. How the fuck do you make those protein bites? This sounds like a commercial, but those protein bites are crack.
Well-
There's something in those things. I've sent them to people. My friend Aaron Snyder, he goes, "Dude, this shit's heroin. Like, what's in this?"
You can't stop. We
I eat
considered
those-
making them into one, so it's actually a bite, and we're like, no. People eat both, or if they do eat one, they'll hand the other one off.
Yeah, you give one
not
to a friend.
It's not going to waste.
No. No.
But we've got 4 new flavors coming out, and I get to be the guinea pig for that shit too with Aubrey and a few other people on the team,
Those-
ETG, Lindsay.
Tastes so good.
Yeah, they're insane.
And they don't make you feel bad at all.
No,
after you eat them.
The new flavors are going to be fucking top tier too.
There's something about like I'm willing to get like a slightly adverse reaction if I'm hungry. If I'm hungry and I want like a certain type of sugar-free protein bar, I'm like, I'll just fucking eat it. I need something. I'll eat it, but while I'm eating, I'm like, ugh, what is this? What's going on here? What is this? You know, your body's going, yeah, you know, this is a little weird. Like whatever the protein in this is a little hard for me to digest. Here's a fart for you, motherfucker. But
Hopefully.
But with those protein bites, it doesn't feel like you did anything wrong.
No,
That's
it's
the
fucking
problem.
healthy.
They taste good, but they don't feel like you did anything wrong.
Yeah.
So you could eat
That's the
4
idea,
of them.
to make something healthy that tastes delicious.
I eat 4 of them all the time.
I got the thumbs up. Normally, I'm not allowed to talk about shit we're not creating, but I'll just give you this. We're going to fucking make really delicious, healthy cereal.
Cereal?
Yeah.
Like Cocoa Pops?
You fucking name it.
Really?
Yeah.
How are we going to be able to do that?
Well, I can't give
don't
away the
tell.
secrets, but I'm just saying, son, we're going to have some fucking
Here's
really...
the thing. Is milk healthy? Because I hear
don't think so,
contradicting.
but I don't
yeah.
think so. I think for a lot of people, it's not. In California, you guys can get raw milk that's healthier.
But
Goat's
is that
milk's
healthy?
healthier.
Is raw milk healthy?
I think it's healthier than the killed off shit.
Definitely
where they-
healthier
where
than
they
the killed
fucking
off
get
shit.
rid of all the good bacteria that's in it. No
100%.
doubt.
100%.
No doubt.
And then raw goat's milk is supposed to be even better for you than that.
Yes, and the reason that we find out now that do you ever read The Plant Paradox by Dr. Stephen Gundry?
No.
He's a fucking savage.
Did
But
you bring this up on the first podcast we did?
I don't think I had read that on the first podcast. Greenfield turned me on to this guy. He says that there's a different type of casein protein that Holstein black and white dairy cows make versus Southern European cows. Goats don't make it. Sheep don't make it. So if you're going to have dairy, go with something from a Southern European cow or go with like goat's milk cheese, sheep's milk cheese, those kind of things. But I mean, if you're eating the fucking cereal like I'm doing, especially when I'm doing keto, I'll throw heavy coconut cream in there, like a canned coconut cream. We're making our own keto ice cream with an ice cream maker, do the same shit.
Damn.
You know, phenomenal stuff. I'll let my son mow that down. You don't want dinner, you just want ice cream? Cool.
Whoa.
There's fucking
What a
free range
trick.
egg yolks in there. There's no fucking, it's all natural sweeteners, nothing's going to fuck with his glycemic index.
People don't think that would be, everyone thinks you have to suffer somewhat, right? But if they could figure out a way to make something taste like a real ice cream sundae, like with whipped cream, hot chocolate, cherries, everything, and have it be super healthy for you.
There's got to be a way. Lily's chocolate bars, no affiliation with those guys, but they've fucking figured out how to make chocolate delicious.
And they do it with stevia?
They do it with stevia and a couple other things.
What is it called again?
Lily's.
Lilly or
Yeah,
IE?
yeah. They're at Whole Foods, Sprouts, all those
Really?
places. They're fucking insane. They're really insane. They've got it dialed in. But I mean, if you could melt that down on some homemade ice cream, that's something that I tell people a lot is if you're going to cheat or if you're going to eat for mouth pleasure, make it yourself.
Right.
Make your own fucking pizza with a better crust. Make your own dessert with shit that's not going to spike your blood sugar and make you fat and cause inflammation and fuck your brain up. Like, just make it yourself. Go the extra fucking mile. Do it yourself. It'll be way healthier.
Yeah, but people don't have time for that shit.
Well,
Do you have time to make your own keto waffles? Really?
no, I don't do that.
Have
I
you
don't
ever
like.
had those
I think the idea
no
of like
waffles?
I've watched you were talking about them and I saw and they did a repost. Haven't tried their waffles or their syrup, but I'm down to try. I just
I've-
haven't found the syrup anywhere.
You get it from their website. I fucked up some of their waffles with some syrup and just a pound of butter on it. It was sensational.
That sounds like a good
And
idea.
I didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
After it was over, I felt good. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even feel terrible.
That's the goal of creating
Yeah.
shit like that, right? We've got a ton of keto shakes now at the Onnit Cafe. They will fucking change your life.
Damn.
They're insanely good.
Life changing.
Yeah, no doubt. And they don't make you feel bad.
That's the key, right? Like if there are some, like I'll tell you, no plug here. These fucking Kill Cliffs, these are goddamn delicious. I don't have any business affiliation with them, but they don't. How much sugar does this thing have in it?
0, it's just erythritol.
Zero. 0 sugar. Shit tastes good, but it doesn't have any bullshit in it, right? I mean, this doesn't have any aspartame or anything. What are they
No.
using it for? What are they using this to sweeten it?
Erythritol.
What is that?
It's a natural sweetener that's low glycemic, similar to stevia. Like xylitol is similar to stevia, but they all have different flavor components. So some of them work better for an energy drink. Some of them work better for ice cream, shit like that.
This is recovery and hydration. That's what it is. This shit tastes fantastic, and then there's no bad feeling afterwards. Like if I drank that and that was a Coke, I'd be like, oh, so good going down. A cold Coke in the aluminum can, you crack the top and it's got the condensation all over the top of it because it's so cold.
I haven't had
You
a Coke
just
in
pulled
fucking
it out of the cooler.
15 years probably.
Ooh-wee. Especially if you have some barbecue, dude. You're in the middle of a slab of ribs and you go for that cold Coke and you just chug, and you feel the syrup.
Never.
Yeah.
Out of here.
You
Beat
feel
it.
the thick syrup making its way to your veins. Ah, but for that mouth pleasure, you'll trade it all.
Do you like the Zevia? Have you had
Love it.
Zevias?
Love
They're
it.
fucking amazing.
I buy them all the time.
It's not the same flavor as
better.
Coke. I fucking love it though.
The
cherry
root beer
cola,
ones, cherry
the
cola?
root beer,
Yeah.
ginger ale's
Yeah,
good.
they got some great ones.
They're fucking great.
Yeah, you can legit get things that taste good now that don't have sugar in them. I mean, we're just so addicted to the things that have the sugar in them. You know, if we could find healthy alternatives, it's possible.
They're coming out.
They're coming out. Well, listen, man, let's go fucking shoot some bows and arrows and shit.
I'm fucking
It's
down.
already 3:00. Let's get this over with.
Hit it.
Kingsboo on Instagram and Twitter.
Yep. Onnit.com for everything else.
And host of the Onnit podcast, which is available on iTunes. And where else are you guys available? Is it
Everywhere, all good.
And I think you guys are on YouTube too, right?
Yeah, we just started doing like full length. We just originally were doing that for little marketing tools, shit like that.
Put it all up.
Yep. Throw it up.
All right. Well, listen, brother, we got to do this more often. But we
yeah,
just
brother.
did it.
Hell yeah.
Kyle Kingsbury, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back for Asa Hobby tomorrow.